Okay.
I'm just trying to wait to see if it's going to pull it up. Sometimes it seems to take a minute here to.
For it to fully load.
Yeah. It says we're live, and we probably are, but. Oh, Booney, don't you get involved. Now here goes the dog. It's just Murphy's Law.
There goes the dog. That's so funny.
Right. It's like, okay. Everybody joins in. Great. Dog's all quiet, laying over there, all sound and sleeping. The minute this comes on, here comes Booney.
That is so funny.
I'm just
That is
trying to
so
wait to
funny.
see if it's going to. Okay, it is actually now recording us. I just got slapped in the face with my voice. So,
Here
so
you go.
I'm kind of checking to see what the buffering's going to be here. Um, if it's even going to work uh, this time around. Okay, now where am I? Hi, Diana.
Hi, Diana.
Um, let's put the Zoom info in there. Where is the. Let's see. I hope I got that right. 256 587 8266. Okay. Join in Zoom for best audio.
Yeah, 256-587-8266.
Okay. We just gotta get everybody used to when these videos go on. The first thing everybody does, Google Zoom, get into their Zoom and enter meeting ID, and that way nobody's cut out of any audio or anything.
Most definitely, most definitely.
Don't you start, little doggy. My dog loves spaghetti, so she had spaghetti, and uh, she loves when I make spaghetti. She is just all right up in the business, waiting for her plate of spaghetti with sauce, noodles, the whole shebang.
That is so funny. That is so funny.
She's like a little personage. It's weird. She's more person than dog. Uh, Diana
Most
is
definitely.
asking for a pen.
Um, hey, Diana, did it ask you for a pen?
It doesn't say it has a password. I don't see a password. I just see the.
No, and did you, because you just popped right on in. So,
Right. Password pin number. I don't see that. So.
password pin. Oh my. I don't see anything where there would be a password pin.
Yeah, there should be no password. Is it asking for one? Yeah, because if you go to the invite others and you look down in the corner, if it has a password, the password's usually in the corner. And then when there isn't one, it isn't there. All it has is the meeting ID number.
Oh yeah, that was last time, but this on this Zoom account that I'm on now, there is not on this one.
Hi against the flow. Oh, thank you.
There's Against the Flow. Hi, Against the
Is my
Flow.
lighter over there? It should be right there. I'll get it. Does Against the Flow know how to get into Zoom?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
My toes catching the bottom of my pants.
You tripping over your pants?
Yeah.
I thought you were tripping over the house. What do you mean? Sometimes I feel claustrophobic in here, like I can't really move. Do you need help with that window? We have to get some good material and fix that.
Okay. All right, so where are we standing at? Are we waiting for people to catch up in Zoom or what?
That's a good question. It does be, we can go on ahead and start. And if they want to come on in, then we can invite. So it does not matter. It does not matter. We can go on ahead and begin and see how that goes.
Okay, so I'm going to let you welcome everybody for one thing. Thanks for joining us. And I'm sure other people will trickle in as we go. If you guys have a problem hearing because YouTube likes to buffer, please let us know. Get into Zoom. You don't have to talk. You can just listen. It won't buffer in there. That's the whole point to it. So if you want it, cool. If you don't, cool. But I was going to let you talk about what you said earlier to me about the edifying and Bridezilla.
Yes. And I wanted to address this because of everything that has been going on and the attacks that you've been getting on Facebook by these folks just by having a just simply an opinion. Okay, this is an opinion. This is not being stated as fact. It is called an opinion. And people really need to look in the dictionary and look at the definition of what an opinion is. Okay? So based off of so we have developed a opinion based off of what we are told on prophecy and what we are seeing. I'm going to repeat that again, an opinion. And Amber has been shamed. She has been belittled. She has been mocked. She has been scoffed. She has been called names. And that is not the bride of Christ that I was told about. That's not my fellow brothers and sisters in Christ. That's not the way Paul said to be. This is not the way Christ said to be. This is not the fruit of the elect of what I was told that the fruit of the elect have. There's an opinion. You don't belittle, you don't scoff, you don't mock somebody for their opinion. Yes, you can disagree, you can have a conversation. Show me the Bible verse that allows you to scoff and mock a fellow brethren in Christ for forming opinion. And it's so shameful. This is bridezilla. Bride of Christ is not bridezilla. And there are many others that have the same opinion as we do. This was not just pulled out of our butts and thrown out and said, sound the alarm.
Right.
Everything was documented. Everything was walked through. And everything was shown to back up why that opinion was developed.
Right.
It was formulated. The formula was given for the opinion. Okay, it wasn't tried to bring in controversy. And somebody said to Amber, "Well, this could ruin your reputation if you're wrong." Why? Why? It's an opinion, okay, and it's a serious opinion. And the alarm was sounded because of the seriousness, okay? And we are supposed to be preparing regardless. We don't sit on our butts and just wait for the two witnesses to show up. No.
Amen.
We are supposed to be edifying each other. We are supposed to be in his word. We are supposed to be on our watch towers, okay, watching, studying. And
what is that
the
verse
stuff that
if we don't warn, the blood's on our hands?
The blood is on our hands. I would love to know if these folks have ever formulated and created an opinion in their mind and have ever been wrong.
We didn't set
I
any
doubt
dates.
it by the way that they're spouting. No, dates were not set. Events were not set. It was an opinion, and I can't. It is. I don't know. It's complete bridezilla. It really is. And if you are really that legit concerned about a sister in Christ, you don't call them names, you don't belittle them, you don't mock them, and you don't scoff them. You talk to them, you go through the Word of God, and you pray for them. That is how it is done. In fact, what I have seen is what the Word of God says what the enemy does. That's what the enemy does. They mock and they scoff and they accuse. They don't know you from nobody, from Peter or John or whatever that saying goes. I don't even know how that
Peter,
saying
John,
goes.
Paul, and Mary or something.
Yeah, they don't know you, Amber. They have no right to speak on your mental mind. There's only one cardio knower, and that's our Heavenly Father.
Amen.
They really need to read the fruit of the Spirit. They really do. The fruits. And this is really important. We are in serious times. Everything was documented for the opinion. No, instead of talking about it, having a conversation about it, going over everything that was shown, no. They go straight to the mocking, straight to the scoffing, saying that, no, you're wrong. Show Amber that she's wrong, then show it. Have a respectable conversation. Talk about it instead of just being a part of bridezilla.
We're supposed to sharpen each other's swords.
And you know, it is disgusting. It is disgusting, the thing, and you know, and I just wanted to get on there. And it's, you know, it's so hard to put
and it's
into
not
words.
it's
It
not
really
just
upset me.
it's not just our study group, because this is basically what this show is about. This is where we come together, we take apart current events, we put it together with biblical prophecy. But she ran into some gentleman who was sounding the alarm the same way, and what they wanted to take him, said he needed to go to a mental institution.
Yeah. And this is supposed to be seasoned members in the body of Christ. They have become PhD doctors to say that his mental capacity is gone and that he needs to see a doctor. That's how far that these so-called members in the bride of Christ have gotten. That's Bridezilla.
Right.
No, if you are that concerned, you talk to your brother in Christ. You approach them and you do it in private as Christ instructed. You don't do a public humiliation for everybody to sit and laugh and mock, because you do not know his mindset. And this is what Paul spoke of. He could be on his last straw and bam, he's
Right.
broken down. How dare they? How dare these people? Shame on them. Shame on them. I am so appalled that some of these are the brethren that I have studied with and that I have spoken to and had fellowship with. I am appalled and I am ashamed over an opinion. And it's a serious one at that matter. It wasn't taken lightly to air that opinion. And if you all recall, I shared the same opinion. I shared it. I shared the same opinion. And I said it over and over. So, I'm going to let it go now. That had to be addressed, and I really wanted to get it in, Dick. I mean, oh my, wrong word, indeed. That came out of nowhere, but Wheel of Fortune is on, and it's like I almost said the puzzle, and it just came out wrong. But yeah, I was doing so good, and then bam, I'm down. It's out. It's over. Game over.
Well,
so
the thing
no,
of it that I
and
want
I-
to come out
yeah.
the direction of is the fact that, and I'm going to actually play this clip because we are supposed to be watchmen. God has given the command and said, watchmen, watch, and if you don't sound the alarm and warn them from me, their blood is on your hands. It doesn't mean that I am making prophecy. It doesn't mean that I am saying that this is exactly what God meant by this. I'm a student just like the rest of you, and only God knows the time, but when prophecy is being laid in front of your eyes, the pieces on the chessboard have now began to accumulate. They are moving in the direction that God told us to watch for end time prophecies. And we're not the only ones sounding the alarm. There is many who are sounding the alarm saying that something ain't right. Look at what's happening in the Middle East. Look at the Arbe armies gathering. Look at the enemy. The enemy is on the move like never before in history. The Bible gives us certain prophecies to look at to know what time we're in. Daniel is coming to life. Okay? How many times have we gone over Daniel and Revelations and gone, well, wow, what could that mean? Well, wow, okay, let's put that on the back burner. The reason why Pastor Murray, in my opinion, has said put that on the back burner is because at one point or the other, it's going to make so much sense. It's going to hit you in the face like a really bad fart. Okay, that pronoun, like, boom, it's here. Whoa, I get it now. And that's what's happening. So when you see these things happening, you have to shout it from the rooftops. You got to shout it out, because some people aren't seeing it because they're so wrapped up in Trump's whatever the hell with his impeachment, not impeachment, this, that they're not seeing what they were supposed to keep their eyes on in the first place. So And it's not about, oh, well, you're dumb. We're not saying that at all. We're your brethren. We're your brothers and sisters in Christ. And we're saying, hey, Lucifer's calling his army. Well, God's calling his. It's happening at the same time. Do you see what I mean? So to say, hey, I'm sounding the alarm, please do. It's okay. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. But if we're right, yippee yay, because we're ready. So cool beans is all I'm saying. And this is prophecy. I didn't write the prophecy. God wrote the prophecy. I'm reading the prophecy, and I'm looking at current news, and I'm putting 2 and 2 together. And in this instance, like Pastor Murray said, 2 + 2 = 4. Period. The math is adding up. So, quit being so mean. Edify each other. Help each other. Stop arguing. Stop calling people names.
Yeah, I mean, there was even a person that fully believes in the rapture. We are very against the rapture. But Amber, did we attack them?
No.
Did we shame them?
No.
Did we belittle them? No. We went over the word of God and we were fellowshipping. We were edifying each other. That is what goes above all, is the word of God. You don't do this to your brethren. You don't. We are supposed to be so low down because that's where you want to be, because Christ is so high up. We are mere nothings without Christ. We are dead without Christ. And it's just terrible. It's just prideful. It is arrogant. It is shameful. It is disgusting. It literally was gnashing of teeth. And I was like, wow, their poor jaws. And I'll be right back. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, before we go any further tonight, I feel led to go ahead, if I can get my phone to cooperate with me, of something that Pastor Murray said, and I think that we need to listen to this, because this sums up exactly what we are supposed to be doing right now, what we are doing right now, and I'm trying to find it. I had it here earlier, and where it went is a good one, and I'm trying to find it. I even saved it, and of course, when I need something, I can never find it. So if you'll give me just a second. This was about the watchmen are supposed to watch. And I will find it. Unless somebody took it off, which would really kind of make me mad. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to play this really quick. And that way we can start this out hopefully right. And that people can understand what we're doing here. And learn to edify each other, sharpen each other's swords, and be the body of Christ, not Bridezilla. So
I expect you to watch. And I expect you to warn the people that the false Christ is coming first. He's coming to take the city. He's coming to take the city, Jerusalem. He's going to set himself up there as Christ on earth, on his Antichrist. And I want you to warn all the people everywhere. There's not going to be a rapture. Nobody's going anywhere. It's a deception that Satan brings upon the earth, false teachings. But you are a watchman, and you will watch and observe the signs and the seasons. We're whereby you will not be deceived, to see when the false one comes at the sixth trump, the true Christ not coming until the seventh. Again, from the book of Revelation. That's what a watchman is for, is to warn the children. That's why God gives you the truth. God doesn't give you the truth for you to hide it somewhere. Just like that closing verse that we covered in the great book of Revelation, that he is our light. And when he gives you light, don't hide it under a bushel. When someone is hurting and when they need truth, share it with them. Give them comfort and give them encouragement to know. It may seem like Satan controls. He doesn't. Our Father is still on the throne. That's what a watchman is for, is to warn the children, whereby they're not deceived.
All right, so I think those were very, very good words that Pastor Murray said. I think we all know.
Yeah, it really fits very well. It fits very well.
Yeah, and I think that, oh, let me turn that down.
When someone is hurting,
I mean, I wouldn't have been able to explain it better myself. That was, almost makes me want to cry, because people are hurting each other so much, so freaking much, that, I mean, that is the complete opposite of what he has taught us, and it's basically almost been my whole life that I've been listening to Pastor Murray. That is not what he taught us to do. But then again, on the other side, I have spoken out against certain people, because I have never seen in my entire life of dealing with talking to people that are quote unquote in the body of Christ with Shepherd's Chapel, have seen such a division of our church. Not even a rapture teacher, not all those other religions. There is one thing, and I'm not going to call it out. There is one teacher, preacher, whatever this person wants to call themselves, who has rightly divided the church. And I am almost in utter amazement. And I saw it years ago, but I didn't think it was going to take hold like this. I didn't think it was going to cause such confusion that people are sleeping at the wheel. I thought, boy, there's no way that this could take our church down. There's no way that they'll go for this. They're too smart. They're too sharp. But it happened. And anyways, if any of you know me and know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, there has been a division, and this is where the arguments, this is where the waters, as Olive says, the waters have been muddied, and it's causing great confusion. So I had to say that, and I think maybe we can get into some current events and move along with what Olive and I do best. So, is there anything that you wanted to start with, Olive, of anything that you've found or seen or...
I am totally okay. I'm sorry. I was eating a piece of toast.
You did it to me again. Dang it, I love toast.
It's so good. It's so good with great jam.
Yeah, you do that to me every time. Oh my God. Okay, so I just wanted to say one thing, and I'm sure many of you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to read you something that I wrote down, because I have a lot of thoughts flying in my head right now, because the Middle East, the world actually right now, is so busy, and prophecy is coming to pass so fast, and those Arbe armies are one busy group. Goodness. And boy, are they strong. They are quick. They are fast. They are... Holy smokes, and it's hard to keep up with their movements. I've printed a map, and I am tracking it at this point. So I won't go into it too much right now until I finish marking my map out. but I've got them on spot. I have 2 maps right now. And I have been tracking all day exactly where the kings of the East are positioned at this time. And if you did the same thing, and all you have to do is print yourself out a map and make sure it has the River Euphrates on it, and then listen to the Kings of the East by Shepherd's Chapel, you're going to hit the freaking floor. I almost did. I was like, wow, they're a lot closer than I even thought. And I'm telling everybody how close it is already. And I was like, whoa, I missed and I knew I missed a step or two. I'm human. Of course I'm going to, because there's just so much to compile. But I suggest you do that for yourself. And I'm doing that now. And we'll talk about that later. But what I have written, that way I don't get myself messed up or anything. A lot of the arguments that are going on right now, well, most folks are focusing on a system that is not here or here, back and forth arguing. I see this as a separation between our brethren. The problem is you will not see any peace with the first beast of Revelations. You will see the disarming and the peace, false peace or not, you will see the peace when Lucifer is here visually. I emphasize that. He is the one to bring it in with him and his army, his locusts, his fallen angels. Okay? That's what the healing... Oh, I hear something in the background. Whoever joined needs to mute the show behind you, please. Jeff Fro, I'm guessing. Okay, so he is the one to bring it in with him, Lucifer. That's what the healing of the deadly wound means. It can't happen. The peace system cannot happen until Lucifer shows up visually, making it happen, because no one in the previous was making the agreement. They're not coming to the table. They're not agreeing. In fact, they're pulling away. Now, don't forget, when Lucifer is here visually, this is the last 2.5 months of the tribulation. The 2.5 months, which is the political system, previous to Lucifer showing up visually to make this all work, the stage is being set with wars, rumors of wars, and peace talks at the same time. We could even go as far as to say negotiation and agreements. Never reaching the full goals because countries pull out. They pull away. That is being set up right now as we speak by Russia, Iran, Turkey, and etc. The other option, there's been put on the table a second option. At first, the United States occupied the Middle East. We were at every border. Trump has now pulled us out. Look what happened to Iraq when the United States pulled out. Who took over? Iran. We just pulled off of the Syria border. Look who took over. Turkey. Okay? The Middle East has been given over to Russia, China, and Iran. And if you think for a minute, you'll think, oh wow, those main countries with the other countries that they gather, like Yemen, Ethiopia, Egypt, and a few others, okay, I'm not going to, the list is long, are the countries that gather for the end time war. These are the players that go against America and Israel, Gog, Magog, and Armageddon. Pastor Murray has stated, and I am really almost to the point where I'm tired of having to defend this because people are lazy and you don't want to go to the study. You just want to yap your flappers. You want to just yap, yap, yap instead of going to it like I did, opening up my Bible, opening up the video on YouTube. These are very simple things to do. and listening with your ears instead of your mouth and listening to exactly what Pastor Murray said was going to happen, which is happening. This isn't Amber saying, look what's happening, guys, and pulling this out of my rear end. I am quoting Pastor Murray. I am looking at current events, and the only reason why I know this is happening is because Pastor Murray said it. And anytime I tell you, look what's happening, I'm seeing this, I say, go look at the video, Kings of the East. I say, look, guys, I see it happening. Go to Pastor Murray's War and Peace video. It's happening because he said it was in the video. I'm not writing a script here. So I don't understand. I'm not making it up, folks. I'm just telling you, and for those who want to yap their flapsticks, run your guillotine, run your mouth, and argue and muddy the waters just to hurt someone, shut up. Go open the Bible, go to Pastor Murray, get in the gosh darn boat, and shut your mouth long enough to hear what he's trying to tell you. This is God through Pastor Murray telling you this. Pastor Murray was God's tool, and a very darn good one at that. I am so mad right now. I'm trying not to cuss because a lot of people are pansies and you can't handle adult talk. Well, I'm not here talking to children. I'm talking to adults. My point is to talk to you. You want to tell your kids, you go tell your kids. I'm not talking to your kids. I'm talking to you as an adult. Start acting like one. And this doesn't go to everybody, okay? Don't get all sidetracked and upset because you're right along with me saying the same thing, because it's happening to you. Noah, which Olive brought up, which made me go, you're right, was torn down, called names, made a fool of for over 120 years when he was telling people the flood is coming, idiots. I'm telling you right now. He said it up until the day he was entering the ark. For goodness sakes, do you want to be one of those people to your own brethren when all you have to do is just shut up long enough and open your Bible and let God tell you that this is what's happening? Anyways, I'm pretty darn serious about this because I'm pretty upset. I'm not upset in the fact that you want to call me names. Call me names. Yo, I've been called names and torn down physically, mentally, my whole life up until this current day. So do you really think I give a crap what you call me? Do you really think I care about a reputation? I don't give two hoots what you think of me.
Yeah, 2 hoots. No.
Yeah, from Pastor
She really
Murray.
doesn't.
I don't
She
care.
really doesn't. No. She really doesn't. And I'm a double witness to that one.
I'm never
She really
gonna meet
doesn't.
you. I'm never going to see you here. I don't care. I'm going to see God, and that's where I care, where I'm sitting. That's who I care about. I love Olive with all my heart. She's, in fact, my best friend. But I probably won't see her physically either, but I
And
love
I
her.
love you with all of my heart, too. I love you. I love you. So, and see, I had deactivated my Facebook, so I wasn't on there when all this was going down. And yeah, I mean, yeah. Keyboard warriors, Bridezilla keyboard warriors, thumbs up.
Right.
You know, I mean, why don't you put on a leather jacket and light a match or something? Because you bad. You bad.
Right. You bad. Right.
You know, there's a meme. It's one of my favorite memes, and it's a guy on a computer, and it says, "Hey mom, hand me a hot pocket because I'm being a badass on Facebook." It's like, it's so funny to me. It's I have to send you that meme,
That makes me
and
want a
it
Hot
is
Pocket.
so true.
I love Hot Pockets.
See, I totally fell because I tried to give an example of somebody bad, and all I came up with was a leather jacket and a match. So what are they going to do? Fart and light a match? I don't know. But you guys get my drift. So
Join Zoom if you have, and I'm typing this out, that's why I'm talking slow, buffering. We've already taken care of this. I can't help that Facebook hates the truth. Or not Facebook, I'm sorry, YouTube hates the truth. I am not the only one that's being buffered. Anybody and everybody right at this point who is telling the truth about what's happening in our country, who is telling the truth of what's happening in the Middle East, because you're saying quote unquote key words, is being buffered. So if you have buffering going on and you would like to hear us, join Zoom. I'm going to put up again the meeting ID so you will not have buffering going on, and so YouTube cannot censor the truth. Because I am standing up right now to a lot of stuff, thanks to Olive, because I was hurt. I was down about it, and I'm like, maybe I should just shut up. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just off my rocker.
No.
But she slapped me and woke me back up, and now I'm louder than I was before.
good. Yeah, you know, because it's so it's so hard to put into words. Not one of their words, every paragraph of theirs, not one of them had scripture. It was their opinion attacking your opinion. They bad.
Right.
So sorry. It's so funny to me. No, I've been around it so much, and I can't even tell you. It's just I can't even tell you, and I know that you have too, but now I'm like numb to it all, and I'm just now it's the middle finger, and I'm not joking. If they're going to do the laughing and the scoffing and all of that, you know, I just walk away. I do, and it's just no point now. They can have it all. They can have it. And it's stand up, be bold, be even bolder, because that is just the enemy trying to silence you. That's all that it is. The enemy wants you silenced. And the enemy is the accuser. He's the liar. He likes to shame folks. And that's how you silence. And they try to do it to the prophets, and they try to do it to the apostles, and they try to do it to the disciples. And I mean, there's nothing new under the sun. These types of attacks have been going on against the body of Christ for thousands of years. Nothing new under the sun.
Right.
It's the same spirit, and it's to silence. The enemy wants to be silent. He wants you to be silenced. He doesn't want that bold speak. He doesn't want that truth. He doesn't want it.
Right.
It makes him angry, and that's why he makes war with the saints. He doesn't make war with the world. He's making war with the saints. Read it and eat it.
He already has.
Yeah,
them.
he already has the world.
He's coming for us, straight freaking for us.
Yeah, he's making war with the saints. SAINTS, saints. Not the Baphomets down at the bar. Okay, that's, they're like glued on to him, and they ain't going nowhere. So he's making war with the saints.
Right, and that's the
I don't know
thing
how.
that are,
I don't know.
that's getting people confused. And I want to tell you something that I want you to look at, okay? Because this is what I've been looking at all day long. You can see that Israel is basically almost surrounded by its enemies. I'm not talking about Jerusalem. Get your acronyms right. I'm talking about Israel, okay? Look at the enemies coming towards Israel. One country after another is dropping the peace deals with Israel. Is talking about it. Jordan is talking about it. Soon be taken over by Turkey. They said today, we ain't stopping. And all of a sudden, Russia's there. And Russia, he just said, we're going to do it with Russia. He admitted it. Iraq is already taken over by Iran. And I'm going to open this up because if you've got a problem with it, then you can open up the Bible yourself. I'm just saying how I see it. Okay? Daniel 8:4. Iran has already taken over Iraq. When we pulled out of Iraq, who do you think took over? Iran did. They're already all the way up to the Syria border on the where Iraq borders Syria. Hello, and Turkey has met them there. Hello, okay? Think about it. We have Saudi Arabia, as I'm looking at my map here. Saudi Arabia is like huge. Well, what does Saudi Arabia want? They're in secret talks with Iran. Putin is over there now or just finished talking to Saudi Arabia. Why is Putin over there? Do you see where it's going? You've got Yemen, Ethiopia, Oman, Bahrain, Sudan. You've got all these countries that are being gathered up by Russia and China for the end war. It's already being talked about right now. They're aligning. It'll go really fast because Russia and China are now, well, Russia you can prove, I can prove that, but China's with Russia. Hello. They're giving the Middle East military support and the United States is retreating. Pastor Murray talks about this, all of these countries in the Deadly Wound and the Deadly Wound update. He tells you flat out. This is setting up of the Deadly Wound. This is why the first beast of Revelations doesn't make it. Look, when the USA pulled out of Iraq, Iran conquered it. Daniel 8:4. Daniel 8:6 is the switching to a religious war. 8:7, Iran, which we were also talking, which I think maybe we should talk about, and we're supposition here about Turkey being that in that also. 8:7, Iran gets the horn broken financially through tariffs. The United States took them down economically, and now they're taking Turkey down economically, not to mention everybody else they already took down economically by tariffs, by raising that tax so much it chokes the countries out. Well, think about that, okay? Think long and hard about how that's coming together. The system is choking out the world. The system is taking down every country economically to the point where they're crying for food. They're crying for money. They're crying for it. I mean, I don't see how that could be any more blatant than what's showing right now. And how do you think, and I am not the only one out here that's saying it, the Arab armies are gathering. Pastor Murray says in the 6 Trump Deep Study, and if you need it, I'll put it in this text so you can actually don't just run your flapsticks, and these are the people who like to call me names and say I'm lying. Stop running your mouth, open it and listen to it first, then come back and talk to me when you have some education. That in the Bible where it says, and the 6th angel who had, H-A-D, had the 6th trumpet, did it say sound the 6th trumpet? No. Uh-oh. Are we still there? He didn't say sound the sixth trumpet. He said your order is to loose the fallen angels. It means they got booted out of heaven. It means they got put on to earth, into the earth. And they come just a little bit before Lucifer. You don't like it? You don't like that I said it? I don't really care. I couldn't give two hoots what you think, because that is what prophecy says. The angel did not, and I don't have headphones right now, so hold on one second, guys. The angel did not say that I am blowing the trumpet. The angel said I am loosing the angels, or the angel let go of the 7,000. I'm going to pause here for a second because I just lost my headphones. So I can't hear anybody at this moment, but I'm going to turn it over to you, Olive, here for a second while I go get something to make my headphones work. I'll be right back.
Okay. And this is so awkward because I know it seems like I am one that can definitely have a good conversation with myself, but I really don't. So I'm going to start by saying, how's everybody doing? How's everybody's night going? This has been a really good evening, and I'm glad that we were able to talk about all of this stuff. And Gulp said cheese sticks, and I thought they said cheesecake. That's how my eyeballs read cheese sticks. It read it as cheesecake.
Cheesecake.
That is terrible.
Cheesecake. That was my Coke.
But it's so funny, Amber. They said cheese sticks, and my eyeballs legit read it as cheesecake. I'm like, cheesecake?
Who said cheesecake sticks?
Nobody said it. Or Gulp said cheese stick. Yeah, and it made me want cheesecake. I'm not joking. That is terrible. I haven't had cheesecake in probably a year. So, no, that just sounds so good. And Bubba's making some cookies. Got good stuff going on.
Well, yeah, I couldn't hear what anything happened, but when the sixth angel was given the command, it's not to blow that trumpet. That trumpet's for Lucifer. But that angel was given the order to release those fallen angels who come just a tad bit before Lucifer does. So, and the fifth, everybody's like, well, the fifth, we already have been in the 555 for a long time. That's the time of learning. When the fifth angel sounded, and Olive, maybe you can explain that better, that was just for preparation for learning what was going to happen when the sixth happened.
Yeah, it's good. You know, it is really good because the preparation should be taking place. That is something that the body of Christ needs to be doing, is preparing. When armies go to war, they prepare, they strategize, and all that good stuff. They don't just wake up one day and say to their wife, well, Margaret, I'm heading off to war. You know,
Right.
they have
After
their
eating cheese sticks for
and
10 months.
Yeah. So, and I'm just putting a fleshly context, a visual. That's what should be taking place spiritually. And get ready and prepare because it is coming. The word of God says it is coming. We are in the parable. And this is why Christ said to learn the parable of the fig tree. We are living in the cursed fig tree nation. We are in the last generation. It has been written. So, and I know so many think that even 120 years, it means it goes exactly 120 years. Well, then everybody would know. Right. So it doesn't work that way. So you have to prepare. Floods come in. They come in. They just sweep on in. And this is a spiritual flood. Don't be caught off guard. You want to be in the ark, and when that door seals, that's when the sealing is complete, is when that ark door closed, and it's time. It is showtime, and there's no second chances. It is go time.
Right.
That's the army going out for war. This is straight up war. It's spiritual warfare. And it's a big battle. And Christ even shortened the time for the elect's sake. So get off the high pedestal there. Because that means that, yes, even you would be deceived.
All of us.
If Christ did. Yeah, everybody. Well, I'm just speaking to, like,
Right.
I'm being dramatic
I
here.
can just see them saying, but you said not you. We're talking to babies here, children.
I'm speaking everybody. I'm being dramatic here. So I'm trying to get my point across. But yeah, that's the lowdown. And there's an amazing sister in Christ, and she proved a really good point. I was speaking to her last night on the phone. And, people really need to pray not to be deceived. Pray, prepare, sharpen, eat the manna. So, okay, I'm going to shut up now because I'm going to let you go on to all the current events. Okay, Olive, we get it, we got it.
Well, no, they don't. No, they don't. Some do, but the general, no, they don't got it, Olive. They don't. They're confused.
Yeah.
And they're not praying. They're not praying their way out of it. I'm going to tell you. I am 39 now. Now, God, I've been listening to Shepherd's Chapel since I was about 9 years old. I was baptized at age 14 by Dennis, Pastor Murray, and David. And that doesn't mean anything. I'm just telling you that's how long ago it was, okay? And I know there's people that have been with him longer. I hear you, okay? But what I'm saying is, even 10 years ago, when I've told you guys several times, my two favorite books in the Bible are Daniel and Revelation. They always have been. I just love these two books because this is my exit. Our exit. I want out of here, okay? I want to go home. I don't like it here. And from my understanding of Daniel and Revelations 10 years ago wasn't anything like it is today. I'm reading it now and I'm like, it's not tomorrow's newspaper anymore. It's today. It's happening like right now. And some of it, most people have missed because they just refuse to restudy it because they think they know it all. Do you know how many times a day I go over the Kings of the East tape, War and Peace, the 6 Trump. I go over the 6 Trump study with Pastor Murray like at least twice a day. Because I'm like, wait a minute, what did I say? What am I? And then I'll get an idea, and I refer back to it saying, okay, Pastor Murray, was this right? Is this what you said? Because I see that happening. So I go back to him, and sure as shit, here it is happening in front of my eyes in the media. In the Middle East, on the news, in my face, and I'm like, whoa, you were totally there or something, Pastor Murray. How did you know that verbatim? It's happening. And I'm so taken back, and Olive and I were talking about this, and maybe Olive can jump in and say it, because dang, you said it best. She said, you show me where you were taken by God somewhere.
Yeah. Pastor Murray, if people live in, or if they listen, if I could speak now, if they listen to his temple tape and he gives his account, I want to know, I want to hear their accounts. I want to hear it because Pastor Murray was so blessed, and his program, it covered 1/3 of the entire world. And you are on YouTube and you are on Facebook and Twitter or whatever, and I'm not singling out a special one here. So I'm trying to say, I want to see those credentials. And Pastor Murray is so humble. He's like, do not compare me to Paul. Don't do it. And he's like, it may sound similar, but don't compare it to Paul. I mean, that's how humble that he was. He constantly showed his formula. He constantly chose folks to study for yourselves and do not take my word for it. Never take his word for it. Study. And all these jokers that I hear, everything that they state is an actual fact, and it is the word of God. They don't tell folks to study and not to take their word for it. They do not do it. So God made it possible for Pastor Murray to be shared, and it crossed over 1/3 of the entire world, chapter by chapter, verse by verse, and he shared who the Kenites were. Okay? That's very telling there. They still have not been shut down. There's a reason for that. So, yeah. So come back when you've been taken to the third dimension and you're told, no, you did not die. Okay? So that's a powerful statement there. And then I listened to the communion of the sixes and listen to that account. Come back and tell me when those things have happened, and then prove it. You know, because there's so many diviners and enchanters and soothsayers and false this and false that. So, you know, everybody's been to the 11th and to the 10th and to the 5th and to the 4th dimension, apparently. So, but I'm just trying to make a point there. There's a reason why Pastor Murray was on, he covered 1/3 of the world. God made it so. Because that is truth. And truth feeds his children. It brings souls out of the valley of the dry bones, and it puts that meat and those tendons on their body. Amber, are you still there?
I'm here, Olive, if you can hear me.
Oh, there you are, John. I was wondering if you were going to stop by.
I just got in here.
Very, very good.
Wow, welcome. I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, well, my schedule's been a little off here, a little off center sometimes. So
I forgot, you guys. I forgot. We have the channel on Please Stand By. I forgot to change the screen to our new news broadcast. That's funny the whole time.
There's a new one now?
You'll see our new news broadcasting screen.
I thought you had Please Stand By. I thought you had Please Stand By for the internet. I thought it made the internet better or something. No. I was like, where are we going?
I forgot to put our news, our station on, you guys. Look at you, John.
Oh my gosh. Are you kidding me?
I can't believe
I
forgot to switch it. It's freaking hilarious.
Oh boy.
This
I love your Photoshop skills.
Things I've ever seen. This might be one of the funniest things I have ever seen.
That was made by a friend of ours, Praise, and I had asked him if he could make a background of our heads on a newscast, and this is what he came up with, and it's freaking hilarious. I love it.
Oh,
And
man.
notice how Praise put the tinfoil
Yeah.
hat on
Yeah.
my head. He put it on my head. That's so funny. That's so funny.
He would do that.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I
It
think
looks
it's
good.
hilarious.
This is so funny.
And on John's
This is
jacket,
so
it
funny.
says press.
Yeah, I know. I look like I'm auditioning for CNN.
Yeah, but I keep telling you we're more popular than CNN. All of our 9 people in here were way more popular by at least 75%.
Yeah, I think so. You probably have better credibility, that's for sure.
What? Daniel says whoever said you guys have big heads was right. Oh, I love it. Okay, I can't believe I forgot to put that up there.
Daniel said, "Whoever said that you guys have big heads was right."
Right.
Isn't that funny? Do you get it?
Do
Do you get it?
Yeah, I just
That is
read
so
that.
funny. I'm so funny. Oh my goodness, he is so funny.
Yeah. I like that full court or half court press. That's pretty good. I like that.
So,
Golf is coming up with some good ones.
so John, I'd like to, since we haven't heard from you in a couple days, what's going on in the financial world? Do you have anything to report?
Yeah, it's been the usual Jekyll and Hyde routine. Nothing to get too excited about one way or the other. They're just, I know finally today some negative news came out saying that the consumers weren't spending as much money. So then now but let me double check what the final results were here. I want to make sure I have accurate information here. Let me get into that. I think it stayed about even today. Was that, or yesterday went up, I think, and then today went down. Let's see what happened. Yeah, it went down a little bit today, about 22 points. But there's actually getting to be a little bit more information out here that I'm surprised they're talking about these things, but they've been trying to keep these things kind of quiet. For instance, on CNBC here, there's an article about addiction to cheap money will do tremendous damage to the global economy. I'm amazed that they're even talking about this, because we all know that in the financial world that that's going to happen. But all the mainstream financial channels like CNBC and Fox Business and all them, Bloomberg, they won't talk about that at all. And so now that they're even mentioning this stuff is pretty amazing to me. They are letting out a little bit of truth here and there. Still, the stock market's way up. Gold and silver just kind of stay where they are. They don't really do much of anything one way or the other. But a little bit of this, that, and the other are kind of popping out here that they didn't pop out before. So I'm really amazed. We might be seeing something different finally.
Right, and I'm wondering, and I will find where Trump today said that we're getting ready for a economic crash. Which is funny because he's always saying the opposite.
Well, no, I've seen that. He did a little tweet today saying that he was talking about the Democratic debates last night, and he said if any of these clowns get elected, we'll have a 1929 style crash.
Yes, that's what he said. That's what he said.
That's what he said. So, and it's going to happen whether he's president or anybody else is. It's just a matter of time.
Correct. Also today, and I'm going to go ahead, this is only 6 minutes and 43 seconds, but to those of you who are learned out there, this is going to hit a chord with you, because this tells you the reason, one of the reasons why the United States is now pulling out, is pulling out in process of and handing it over to Russia, of why we're pulling out of the Middle East. So if everybody can just listen in here, it's only about, and I don't know if the whole thing matters, but it's 6 minutes and 42 seconds, and I think it's pretty important. And let me get it to where we can hear it, because that would actually be beneficial. Start it over. Okay.
Money for them to fight with us, and that's okay. They did well when they fought with us. They didn't do so well when they didn't fight with us. When I refused to allow the American...
I'm sorry, my buttons went kooky here. Let me
A year
try
and a
to
half
start
ago to
this
fight
over to where we
with
can
the
hear it.
Kurds.
Okay, here we go.
But they fought with us. We paid a lot of money for them to fight with us, and that's okay. They did well when they fought with us. They didn't do so well when they didn't fight with us. When I refused to allow the Americans a year and a half ago to fight with the Kurds against Iraq, I said, wait a minute. This country stupidly just spent a fortune on fighting for, with, around Iraq. Nobody knows how they spent it, but they spent, actually, we're in the Middle East now for $8 trillion, if you can believe that stupidity. But in Iraq, we're in for probably $5.5 trillion. So they're telling me, wait a minute, we just spent $5.5 trillion fighting in Iraq and with Iraq, and now we're supposed to spend money to fight with the Kurds against Iraq. I said, no, thank you. So what happens is when I said we're not going to fight with the Kurds left. They didn't want to fight against Iraq, which right now isn't the greatest fighting force in the world. That happened twice. The Kurds actually are pulling back substantially from Turkey, and Syria is pulling in. Syria probably will have a partner of Russia, whoever they may have. I wish them all a lot of luck. You know, Russia was involved in Afghanistan. It used to be called the Soviet Union. Now it's called Russia for a reason, because they lost so much money in Afghanistan that they had a downsize, a very big downsizing. So if Russia wants to get involved with Syria, that's really up to them. They have a problem with Turkey. They have a problem at a border. It's not our border. We shouldn't be losing lives over it. But again, we only had 28 soldiers. It was 26, 28. I got all different numbers. It ends up being 28. Between the 26, 28, 2 people, and they're fully accounted for. So that's the story. It's very simple. And we're watching and we're negotiating and we're trying to get Turkey to do the right thing, because we'd like to stop wars regardless, whether Americans are in or whether they're not in. We want to see wars stop. That's a very important thing. On a humanitarian basis, we want to see that happen. Steve?
How confident are you that Mike Pence will be able to arrange a ceasefire?
What are you going
Yes.
to do?
The answer was no, not at all.
I'm going to fast forward her because she's going to speak in a different
Stiamo
language.
negoziando assolutamente e infatti il vicepresidente Pence
So
sta
one
andando in Turchia
second
adesso.
here.
So I view the situation on the Turkish border with Syria to be, for the United States, strategically brilliant. Our soldiers are out of there. Our soldiers are totally safe. They've got to work it out. Maybe they can do it without fighting. Syria is protecting the Kurds. That's good. We are, and by the way, every player hates ISIS. Everybody we're talking about. Syria more than us. Russia more than us. They've done a big number on Russia. And we're over there fighting ISIS, but they're over there fighting ISIS too. They can handle it, and they should handle it. We can fight our own battles on our own territories. But you have a lot of countries over there that hate ISIS as much as we do. In some cases, probably more. So they can take care of ISIS. We have them captured. The United States captured them. Some were released just for effect, to make us look a little bit like, oh, gee, we got to get right back in there. But you have a lot of countries over there that have power and that hate ISIS very much as we do. So I think we're in a very strategically good position. I know the fake news doesn't make it look that way, but we've removed all of our, as we said, 50 soldiers, but much less than 50 soldiers. They're now in a very safe location, heading into an even safer location. And we will help negotiate. We have tremendously powerful sanctions. Our country has become economically much more powerful than, frankly, it ever was. We picked up trillions and trillions of dollars in worth. The market was up big yesterday. It's going to be up big today, it looks like. The trade deal with China, just having to do with what we've done with the financial services, with banks, with the farmers, has been incredible, far greater than anyone ever thought. I agree it hasn't been papered yet, but it's being papered. But in the meantime, as you know, and as we've said many times, China's already started buying. They want to buy. They want to make a deal. They really have to make a deal. Their economy's been hurt very badly by what we've done and by the tariffs that we've charged. And we've taken in tremendous amounts of tariffs. A small portion of them we've given to the farmers, which is more than made up for what they've lost. Go ahead.
So, and in that, it flashed across the bottom of the screen, and I believe, I don't know if I fast forwarded or went over it, Trump had said it's time to stop the endless wars. It's time to stop all wars. Now, I wish I could find where he said that, because I can't believe that I missed that. I don't know where it went, but I also have that posted up, and I will post that into the chat room actually right now. Let me copy the link. He wants to end wars worldwide, and that's one of the reasons why we're pulling out, is because he's setting that that example right now. Plus, among other things, it's allowing the Arbe army to accomplish, which is Jerusalem. Hello, watch what was about all that stuff, and watch. Like I said, I have a map out of the Middle East, and I am watching as we speak how the armies are gathering, they're moving, where they're moving to, and I'm marking it on my map, and I'm tracking their movements, and they are really, really closing in on Israel here. I mean, we are like, whoa. It's moving right along, but it took the U.S. to pull out for that to be able to happen. Now, why Russia is in the middle of this now, Erdogan said, which is the president of Turkey, said today, we are not going to stop. And the news out there said, oh, Russia is there and they're stopping Turkey from proceeding on. That's not what's happening. Russia is helping them. Do you see that? You got to search around, because not all what's happening is actually the truth. But Erdogan said today that Russia is not stopping them, and no world power can stop us. He said it himself. In fact, I have the video. He said no world power, out of his own mouth, can stop us, and Russia is actually helping us. Do you remember when in the Deadly Wound update, Pastor Murray said that he believes that the deadly wound starts from the North country, which is the bear, which is Russia, and in the South country, which is your Kenites, your Gulf states, your kings of the East, and those two coming together cause the deadly wound? Well, why would that cause the deadly wound? Because they're going against what the system is trying to bring in. They're pulling out. They're saying, hey, look, there's another option on the table. Forget what the United States is saying. Forget about what they're trying to do. Look, forget their weapons. Forget their stuff. Just like Erdogan said, I don't need the United States anymore. They can keep their F-35s, because guess what? Russia just gave me another option. Think about that long and hard, okay? Because that's huge. That is huge news. So, and well, like I said earlier, you got a lot of your people out there that are like, shut up, Amber. Shut up, Olive. This isn't happening. All over. It's ridiculous. You're pre-sounding the alarm. You're way off. You're this, you're that. I'm not going to shut up, because I'm visually seeing that right now, and I'm not the only one. Okay? If I was just sitting over here by myself, ringing this alarm saying, hey guys, look, ding, ding, ding. Well, maybe you could be like, well, let's watch her for a minute. Let's listen to what she's saying. But there's plenty of people, more than I can count on my hands, saying the same thing and sounding that alarm. Why? Because...
Oh, yeah, they are.
Mm-hmm. Because the prophecy's happening. That's why they're sounded the alarm.
Mm-hmm.
Not because we're guesstimating, because prophecy is passing. That's why. And people are focused on Trump and the impeachment and California right now and all that's going on. And I've heard people say, well, I don't want to know what's happening in foreign news, because we've got enough to deal with on our own turf. Well, there's you a big smoke screen, huh?
Yeah, in fact, no, but that makes no sense. That is the exact opposite of what one is supposed to do. They are supposed to watch Judea. They're supposed to watch. You were supposed to watch that. And plus, what surrounds them. So that makes no sense why somebody would say that. We have enough to deal with. Okay.
Right, and the sucky part about that is it's a large playing field. It's a really large chessboard, and I agree. It's like a headache to try to keep track of all this stuff.
Oh.
And that's why I started putting it on the maps. I printed out maps, and I'm tracking movement, and I'm putting things down, and that way it's not such a big task to try to remember everything, because there's a lot going on.
I don't know how they begin to manage all that chessboard at the same time. They must have one incredible infrastructure to do that.
They must have one incredible something behind them, all right? Huh?
Yeah.
Interesting you say that.
Yeah, that's such a huge thing. Now, here's something new that just popped in here. This is kind of interesting, too. It looks like the Brexit deal might be in trouble here, because it looks like the Northern Irish Party says it cannot support Brexit deal as things stand. This just came in 21 minutes ago. So it looks like they're balking at the idea, because I was hearing that there's going to be a Brexit deal.
Right.
I've been hearing some stories about that. And now it looks like that might be falling apart. And I'm hearing again that they might be postponing it again. And I'm kind of wondering if they're scared to do this whole thing because of what might happen to the worldwide economy if they do this. So this is an interesting thing. So this is a new development that just popped in. So this might be in jeopardy.
Right, and which I had given that suggestion all along, because you got to think about what's going to happen in the end. We're going to have 7 dominions. Well, we already have the European Union. Okay, we already have the papers signed for the North American Union, which is called the USMCA. Okay, that's the revised NAFTA 2.0. Didn't change much, okay? Not as it was said, like, oh, this is a huge change and I tore it down and you didn't. He didn't actually do anything. His people did it and he barely read it, okay? Or he would have been more knowledgeable in what the frick it said, okay? He knew the topics of it. That's because he's a puppet. He's not in charge here, okay? There's a bigger force, quote, force, that's in charge here. And it ain't him. Get that out of people's minds. That's ridiculous. And the United States pulling out of Syria was like the biggest. And you could say you could even say a mistake. But it's supposed to happen, so it's not a mistake. But in the same thing, do you realize that by Trump pulling out, or I'm going to call it the system pulling out of the Middle East, has just allowed our enemies of the end time wars to accumulate and make deals on their own? Do you realize that?
Yeah.
And they're doing it as we speak. Is anybody watching that?
Well, he's using the excuse, which I think is semi-valid, that it's costing a fortune to be over there. And he's probably right on that. That's probably some truth there. And I'm sure that's one of the problems that Russia ran into when they were in Afghanistan. It just bankrupted them between what they were doing over there and what Reagan was doing over here, trying to bankrupt them. It worked, and they fell apart. The Soviet Union is no more. But, that's their excuse. I think it's semi-valid, but it's going to create a whole whole host of problems for everybody.
Well,
since we're out,
it created a huge vacuum, and Pastor Murray even said that.
Yeah.
It creates a huge vacuum.
Right.
And look what happened. It wasn't 2 weeks later. It wasn't a month later. It was as we were physically pulling out. At the same time the United States was pulling out, they were crossing each other on the same streets. Do you see how fast that happened? It was simultaneously happening. It wasn't a day later, 2 weeks later, a month later. It was simultaneously happening at the same time. Pull in and pull out at the same time. So you don't think that there was an agreement behind the scenes made for that to happen like that?
Oh, I'm sure of that. I'm sure that somebody has given us some orders. Somebody from the very top has given us some very strong orders to make this happen. Trump didn't do this on his own. Nobody else did it on their own. Somebody from somewhere else came up with this idea.
And Diana Wright, Pastor Murray had said before that, hey, these wars have happened since forever. Let them kill themselves. Let them blow each other up. Let it happen. Okay, but because the United States has been strategically placed around the world, especially in the Middle East, this prevented our enemy from doing what they needed to do. Now, don't you find it odd at the speed that this is happening? As I just stated, it wasn't a day, it wasn't 2 days, it wasn't a week, 2 or a month or 6 months. It is happening simultaneously. Everything is going so fast, and that army is moving. Turkey, let's just say it in case you're scared to call it an Arbe army, which is what they are. They are taking over cities and towns within minutes. They are moving so fast, like somebody has set fire to their feet. I can't.
Let me ask you this: what is Israel up to as far as this is concerned? Because they seem to be a little quiet right now.
Well,
and you would think that they would be posturing, if nothing else.
Oh, they're not quiet because Iran just found out that the strike on their, which I said this a couple days ago when it happened, and when we were on live, and you said, hey guys, this just came in, there was an Iranian oil tanker struck. And I said, wouldn't that be funny if they found out that Israel was behind that? Well, guess what came out today? Israel and Saudi Arabia were behind the attack of the oil tanker. I told you that. So no, they're not quiet. And they're also came out. They're not. No, they're not. They are not. And they are trying to rush. Gantz right now is trying to agree, because they're rushing to form their government. Benjamin Netanyahu has like 6 days left. And they're like, look, we're under attack. This is happening. We have to do something now or we're all going to die. They've been talking about preemptive strikes. They've been talking about Trump pulling out and how it left them vulnerable, and that they don't know if the United States is going to back them or not, but that's okay because we'll just defend ourselves. At the same time, they're trying to get their government straight. Palestine is going insane around them, around Jerusalem, by the way, bombing. They're doing weird stuff. They're threatening. They're rising up in mass people. At the same time, you have the news reporting that, and I will show you, it says exactly they crossed the river Euphrates. Well, my friends, when it talks about the river Euphrates, who crosses the river Euphrates? That's your kings of the East. I would recommend that you get the Kings of the East study out again. And I'm not telling you that because I'm telling you you're stupid or unlearned. I'm telling you that because I also do it every day. Every time I hear something, I'm like, wait a minute. Crap, I gotta go get that Kings of the East study again, and I gotta hear it. And every time I hear it, I understand more and more what Pastor Murray was talking about. Listen to this. Beirut. Russian forces have crossed the Euphrates River in northern Syria and reached the outskirts of the city of Kobani, pushing eastward with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, the Syrian Observatory said on Wednesday. The troop movement comes days after the SDF cut a deal with the Syrian government for army troops to deploy at the Turkey-Syria border following the Turkish invasion of northeast Syria last week. These are of the Kings of the East. Get out the study and redo it. I don't care if you did it last week. Open it up, listen to it again, and hear what Pastor Murray is telling you. They are crossing the river Euphrates. The enemy is coming. And who are they coming for? Jerusalem. This is their goal. I don't know how far, John, they are from Damascus, but I heard you mentioning this the other day. That is where they're going. Next stop, they are going to lay Damascus flat. That's biblical. Watch it. They're heading there now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the big part right there. That's definitely game on when they get down there and start doing that. That is big time.
That's huge. Does anybody know where they're at right now?
I'm not sure. Let me try to see what I can find out here in the background.
Well, right. But regardless of whether, and right, Diana, you're right, not much is left of Damascus now. It's already been pretty much crumbled.
No, Damascus is 80% in ruins already, so it wouldn't take much more to finish it off.
No, and I believe they're going to. They're destroying everything in their path. Do you see that? And Putin going and talking to Bibi, they may be two peas of one pod, but Putin's main focus, if you look at their end wars, he don't give a shit about Israel and he doesn't give a crap about America, because all of those countries want to destroy America and Israel in the end wars. They know that. They're formulating that right now. They're making their agreements to destroy us. So whatever he's doing, you got to really watch, because we know the reality of what Putin is doing. We know where he's going. We know the troops he's gathering. We know where he's going to come in. And we know what's going to happen when they do, and God puts hooks in their mouths and turns them around. He kills them all. So good luck to you, Putin. I sure wouldn't want to be in your shoes, because you're written down that God's coming for you in that army. So good luck, buddy. Wow.
Yeah, good luck.
That's
but here's
scary.
something kind of interesting. Here's something interesting here. This is from Al Jazeera. And for today on Thursday now, it says here that Turkish President Erdogan is expected to meet U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and Vice President Mike Pence in Ankara to discuss the Turkish offensive in northeast Syria. At this point, the Vice President and I are planning to take off later on this afternoon, Pompeo told U.S. media on Wednesday, and we have every expectation that we'll meet with President Erdogan. And Erdogan told Sky News earlier on Wednesday that he would not meet with the U.S. delegation led by Pence before reversing his position in comments to the Turkish press. So we got to see how that plays out, whether they refuse these guys or they actually sit down and talk about it.
But then he actually did sit down. They're already talking. He decided to go ahead.
They're already talking? Okay.
Yeah. He was throwing a fit.
Okay.
For a minute there. That's over with now. And then Pompeo, after he talks to Erdogan, he's going to Israel. So that's Israel's next stop.
That's a small trip from there. So, I mean, from Ankara to Israel is not very far at all. It's probably a 2-hour flight if that.
That's all, huh? So they're really close, aren't they, John?
They aren't that far away from each other. In fact, I would say that might be closer to an hour and a half flight from there. It's not that far. No more than 2 for sure.
What is it by tanks and their army? How far from Jerusalem is Turkey?
Oh, that's a ways. If you went straight down through Lebanon, that's kind of the straight route. But if you kind of go through Syria into Damascus, and then there are roads there in Jordan, and you have to cross into Jordan and go right into it. But I mean, really from, let's say, Aleppo way, right on the top of Syria, all the way down to Jerusalem, it looks like it's just a few hundred miles. I mean, it's not maybe 200, 250 miles, maybe at the most. So I'm kind of guesstimating this a little bit, but about that.
Wow. That's not that far.
I've got Google Maps up on my screen here, so I'm kind of estimating this.
Okay, well, my point is that they're really not that far away as a crow flies. So,
No.
and it's really weird that it's been 25 years since Israel and Jordan peace security, but Jordan is talking about pretty much trashing that peace deal.
I wouldn't be surprised by that.
And isn't that funny that that's happening at the same time that Turkey is invading, has already, is taking over Syria? And just what you mentioned, the fastest way to get there is through Jordan.
Yeah,
Well, that's
it
weird.
is. Well, I mean, you could go through Lebanon too. You could go through Lebanon too, you know, and do it that way. But looking at the road system here, because I've got Google Maps up, it looks like there's a major highway going from Aleppo through Damascus into Jordan. It gets a little bit smaller than at that time, but really you're just like right across from the West Bank and right into Jerusalem. I mean, it's not.
Wow.
I mean, it's like it's a freeway all the way from Aleppo all the way down to Damascus, past Damascus, and then when you get into Jordan, the roads are a little smaller, but they still look like they're fairly sizable roads.
Wow. Boy, that sure looks like a good plan. I would go with that plan.
Yeah, that would be the most logical plan, that's for sure.
Wow. That's amazing. So
Because
basically,
really, you can cross right over. There's a highway that goes right from. Let me see here. I'm trying to figure this out here. Basically, from. Where's Damascus here? Okay, yeah. All right. Once you get into Jordan, of course, you're literally just right across the street from Jerusalem. I mean, it's not that far to go at all. In fact, yeah, I mean, Jerusalem to Jordan is a very small thing there. And there's a road that goes right. There's a road that goes, a couple of roads that actually go right into Israel from there. There's one called 437, goes right in. It goes straight on to Jericho, and then it's really not that much further from Jericho, a little bit out of the way, but you go from Jericho, and you can get into Jerusalem. I mean, literally not very much time at all.
wow.
it's like going into Vermont. You know, it's very small there.
Wow. That's something to watch.
Yeah.
Also, Hearts.com, that's spelled HAARETZ.com. We should also pay attention to what was said Wednesday in Tehran. Last week, when the eyes of the countries in the region were focused on events in northern Syria, a mysterious incident occurred off the coast of Saudi Arabia. It took the Iranians time to reach a conclusion as to what happened there, but on Wednesday, a member of the National Security and Foreign Policy Commission in Tehran said that Israel and Saudi Arabia were involved in the attack on the Iranian oil tanker that occurred after a series of similar attacks by Iran on tankers making their way to Saudi Arabia and the UAE. In other words, the Iranian account with Israel is still open, and sooner or later an attempt might be made to close it. Also, this is from, okay, and here it is, and this is on www.HAARETZ.com. The president's bottom line is quite clear. He believes the time has come to put an end to what he calls the endless wars. Okay, that's going towards wanting wars to stop. Okay? Got to think about it. Yeah, it's America, but once we pull out of everywhere that we're at, watch what happens. And then
Things will fall like crazy.
And they already are. And then here is the proof of, and this is on debkafiles.com, the Syrian army's arrival at the embattled Kurdish towns in the northeast, backed by Russian threats, seemingly halted the Turkish army's advance on Tuesday, October 15th. Only minor isolated incidents were visible, although Turkish President recapped Erdogan boasted on Monday, day 6, "We will not back down." He also said, "Haha, we're coordinating with the Russians. We are coordinating. They are becoming on the same track here." So how do you think that Russia is there to what? Stop it? Hell no. They are now coordinating.
Yeah. They're all unimpeded at this time. They can just run right through.
Well, hell yeah. And we know that before Lucifer gets here, visually separate the two, please. There's 2.5 months that he's behind the scenes. There's 2.5 months that he's here visually. When Lucifer visually gets here, Jerusalem is surrounded by what? Armies. Its enemies.
Yeah.
And they're coming.
Right.
And I wanted to point out something that everyone's like, oh, you know, and you, I don't know if you were here while we were talking about this. Oh, this system's not set up yet. It's not here yet. It has to take over. The first beast of Revelation can't be here. Okay, well, the first beast of Revelation doesn't ever get set up. Hello, that's why it receives a deadly wound, because people start pulling out of it, and that's why it takes Lucifer visually to get here to put it together. He has to be here with your eyeballs seeing him. He brings it with him. And if you also look at what is gathering in the east, and knowing that the angel did not sound the trumpet, the sixth angel did not sound the trumpet, the sixth angel had the trumpet, the order for that angel was to release the fallen angels from heaven, meaning they got booted the hell out. And guess what? Pastor Murray says verbatim, you could even read into that a little deeper and know that they get released a little bit ahead of Lucifer. And if you don't believe me, go read it yourself. Don't just go read it, because it takes Pastor Murray. He has guided us for a long time. It came out of his mouth, and I believe him because he backs it up with biblical. That study is of one of the most important things right now, because it's telling you what is happening right freaking now. This is now. I'm telling you. I just went over it 3 times today. That's a lot. Okay?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it.
And every time I question it, I do it again.
Right. Well, things, no matter what is going on here, you have to look at it is just a perfect setup for all these things to happen. That is the thing. It's just the perfect setup and the perfect storm for everything to come together. It really is. And it's amazing just seeing this stuff play out before our very eyes. I mean, just being able to march right into Damascus. Now, the thing we don't know is when this army does get down there, and let's say it blows away the rest of Damascus, which they're more likely going to do, are they just going to kind of hang out there for a while and just kind of mass there? Because really, by the time you get to Damascus, you're literally on the border of Israel anyway. Right. You're not that far. So that could be a good base point at that time for getting more supplies in, getting everything restocked, and using that as your main base there. There's probably an airport there that they can use, all these things. So, you got to have your supply lines if you're going to be doing this kind of thing. It takes a lot of supplies to make that stuff move.
Right, but if it's true that these armies, these Arbe, these kings of the East are moving in, and it's not just Turkey, you have Iran, who has already, when the United States pulled out of Iraq, Iran has already taken over Iraq. They're already at the border where Syria borders Iraq. Okay, get a map. Look at it. I'm going to get my map right now because I have it right here. I don't have enough room on my desk and my microphone just fell over. Okay, so you have the River Euphrates, okay? And I marked this with my pen so I could see it better. You have Iran, who is kings of the East, okay? The whole Iran, whole of Pakistan, whole of Afghanistan, part of Turkey, Syria, Iraq, okay? Iran has already taken over Iraq when we pulled out. That is what happened to the people, and those people that came over were vile. They have done vile, nasty things to those people. I've watched videos. It is just so foul and so scary. I mean, talk about, that can only be demonic, and that can only be those seed line of Satan, because nobody else could be that freaking evil and vile. It's disgusting. Okay, so if you take a look at where Iraq borders Syria, okay, look at it on the map.
Right.
Look at that River Euphrates. Iran is already at the border of Syria. If not, they've already crossed also with their Hezbollah, all their militias are already heading that way. So, like I said a couple days ago, that gate that was just opened when the U.S., that vacuum that was created, let's go to Pastor Murray's words. The vacuum that's created when we pulled out is now sucking your kings of the East right freaking through that gate. And as you just explained, John, when they get to Damascus, they are basically right there at frickin' Israel. All it is a hop, skip, and a jump, and it's done. And they're all going the same direction. They're not crossing Saudi Arabia. That's not happening.
No.
They're going from Iran to Iraq from Turkey into Syria. Syria's the gate. And they're heading down to Damascus, and then they're heading to Israel to surround it. It's happening right now.
Because I'm looking at the map here too, and from what what's showing me is it looks like it's roughly about 100 miles between Damascus and Jerusalem.
Oh my God.
About 100 miles. Maybe slightly more than that, 115, 125 at the most, but it's not more than 125, I'll tell you that.
That's nothing. That's nothing.
Let me see if I can get...
That's crazy. Oh, I thought that was stuffed bagel. That made me want a cream cheese bagel. It's stuffed beagle. That made me want a cream cheese bagel. I love bagels.
Okay, it's the information I'm getting here, that the distance, if you're going to fly from Damascus to Jerusalem, it would be about 136 miles.
Wow.
That's the flight distance, and it's basically all straight land through there. It might be a little bit more if you're taking it by land, but still, that is not very much time. 136 miles you can cover in no time.
And I don't know exactly... I was going to go back and start putting the pins in there, exactly where they're at right now in conjunction with Damascus, but I don't think they're that far from Damascus, because the Kurds have already retreated and made a deal with Damascus, which they should have made a deal with God instead, but they trusted in the fox guarding the chicken pen, if you feel me. So I think they're already backed into Damascus, which means that Turkey, Russia, and everybody else isn't too far behind.
It shows here that the travel time, if you're going to drive it from there, if you're averaging 30 miles an hour, it would take about 61 hours to get there. If you're doing about 40, it would take about 46 miles an hour, and that's about the speed that these armies can move, like tanks and all that, about 30, 40 miles an hour. And so you're still looking at within 2 days, they can be from Damascus right into Jerusalem.
John, that's not very far. That's nothing.
No.
Okay.
Two hours 2 days.
And I wanted to bring a point where people will say, and I'm going to crush this real quick, well, they're not crying peace, peace, peace. Yes, they are, because if you looked what has happened because of Turkey and all these militias that are fighting with them, because it's not just Turkey, okay, it's all of them, are fighting right now.
Hey, Amber or John, is there, I'm sorry, is there a way that one of you can share this map for folks to see?
Yes.
Okay.
I will.
Yeah, I can't, but I'm sure Amber can. I don't have the capability here.
I will do that right now. Copy.
There's a website called distancecalculator.net, and I just put in from Damascus to Jerusalem, and it came up with 136 miles by air and a little bit more than that by still about a 2-day trip by land.
Okay, so I wanted to crush the fact that people are saying, oh, but they're not crying peace, 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 but they are. The reason being is because the world is watching. And of course, anytime anything has to do with the United States pulling out, it's all our fault, we're horrible people, oh my God, you know, how dare you not fight somebody else's war, you heathens, okay, I'll call crap on that, you suckers, all right, so they have even gotten the United Nations in on this, saying this is a humanitarian crisis because these people who have no care for human life, who have no care for anybody, they are killing and slaughtering everybody as they move into these places. They are destroying everything in their path. No care for human life or nothing. They are having protests everywhere because of this slaughter. Those are peace cries because people, innocent civilians, are being killed. Now, whether they are innocent or not, it's still, this is what the world is crying right now, and everybody is watching. This is where those peace cries are happening. They are doing it as we speak. And then backing up to what we just said, they are almost to Jerusalem. They are almost there. So research it yourself, think about it, but this is what I'm seeing. Let me put another link in to... Here's even another map of the Middle East that you can see, but this one doesn't have the River Euphrates, which you need to have a Middle East map that has River Euphrates on it, because that's very important landmark there. So we'll know what countries that God's talking about. I'm also going to post this is Israel saying they possibly have a unity government breakthrough. And let me see if I can copy the link and then go ahead and insert this in so you guys can also see what Israel's government is up to. And then also I had where they were having these peace cries over Turkey's slaughter of the Kurds. And when you go to research things, because stuff is hidden, you have to really kind of word this stuff weird. I'll have to find that because right now I can't find where I had that at. I'm also going to paste this which is something I was reading earlier, where Trump's about face and Syria forces Israel to rethink its Middle East strategy. They know by the United States pulling out that has just opened that gate that we were talking about and has basically made them vulnerable, and that they know that people are coming. They know it. And it's true because it's happening. Also, I was listening to the Common Sense show earlier, and he was kind of saying something interesting about what Trump can do as far as the U.S. Constitution goes, and what he's pretty much ready to initialize in our country because of what the Democrats are doing. And I found that actually pretty interesting, so I'm actually going to post that right now so you guys have that to look at. It's called Article 3, and according to like Stephen Quayle, Mike, and Dave Hodges, that he's getting ready to institute it. So we also have Trump had sent 10,000 Marines to California. There's a lot of stories going around that there is a lot of things happening behind the scenes that are horrendous. And I mean, I don't know. It's hard to really put down factually that, yes, this is happening. People are calling and reporting things. And, you know, EA, I was going to address this, but I hope that Olive's around, and John, you're here good, because Daniel 11:20, guys, okay, and I've been kind of struggling with this for years, and a long time ago, a lot of us were reading Daniel 11, and we had thought it was Obama. Okay, because it sounded like it could have been, and we hated him so much because he's an imposter, he's evil, he was nasty, not to mention his wife's a man, and all the above. But
yeah, but see, Donald Trump cannot be the raiser of taxer, but because he's been in office now for what, 3 years, but, and this is where the big but comes in, he could have a system.
right,
Pastor Murray says there's many systems that match the raiser of taxes. So one should also be looking for a system as not so much a person. It really could be a person, but it could also be a system. Yeah, it's a system because that's what Pastor Murray says, but
it's the first beast of Revelations, because the first beast of Revelations is a political system, and that system steps down and gives Lucifer his throne. Lucifer takes back his throne, who he gave power unto the first beast to set this up for him. Mm-hmm. It's the system. But the system that's taking the world down is taking it down by high tariffs right now. And I just want to put that out there because I've been struggling with this for so long, but I'm seeing it play out. All of those tariffs that this system, and it's not just Trump, this is actual a political system that's doing this, and there's other countries that are saying, yeah, go ahead and do this. It's just not America. It's an actual system working to bring down the world economy, and tariffs right now are tearing it apart. Look at it.
Yeah. I mean, they're wounding each other by all these tariffs. They're not on the same page.
No, and it's eating countries alive.
Yeah, because a lot of these things are based in U.S. dollars, and we can create as many of them as we want, and other countries have to pay back in worthless currency.
Right.
So it's not a very fair deal for a lot of places. You can put them out of business in a hurry.
And Bubba, right. That's what I'm saying.
Bubba's very correct there.
Yes.
Very correct, Bubba.
And people are like, no, well, it's not Trump. It's not Trump. Trump isn't the system. He's part of it. But
Yeah,
it's
he's
a
the front
large.
man for it.
Yes, he's the
He's the lead singer.
spokesman. Yeah,
He's the lead singer.
yeah,
He's Mick Jagger of this system.
yeah. He's the lead singer of his band. And that's why
Yeah,
people
he's the
aren't
lead
putting
singer.
it together. Well, it's not Trump. It's not Trump. Well, Trump isn't the only one that's leading this system, guys. He's just the lead singer of the band. And the system is crushing the world. The system that you guys say doesn't exist. The system that has been being set up since 1948.
Yeah.
This isn't
Yeah.
nothing new.
I mean, no. And like I've always said, Trump is the most unique individual. Here's a guy that's never really been in politics. I'm sure he's contributed to different candidates over the time, but he's a very, he's always been popular. He's always been out there in the forefront all the time. He's been so trained for such a long time for this thing. You know, he's just been groomed for it at the right time, and this is the right time. They wanted the right front man for it. That's why.
Right, and they
And
got
he's
it.
playing along by the rules exactly 100%, the way they want him to do it. He's doing it step by step.
Yep. This is all calculated by the four dynasties, and it has been since 1948. This has been carefully planned out, and they've tried to institute it a couple times early, but they realized, wait, it's not ready. It's not ready yet. So they've tried to push it, but only God knows when it's time, and only God lets those four winds out that makes it happen. Well, if you take a look around you, and this is why I'm like, hey guys, I'm sounding the alarm, because all of a sudden now it's happening. All of a sudden now it's coming together. Why is that? Why is Jerusalem almost surrounded by its enemies? Because I think those four winds were released. And if not, it's right on the cusp, but I don't see how they couldn't have been when the movement is showing, the world economy is crashing, countries are yelling, screaming, What is that country? And I keep forgetting. Ecuador just took their mayor, tied him behind a truck, and drug him through the streets. Horrifying.
Wow.
And they showed the video. Look it up. He was tied to the back of a truck.
South America has fallen apart. I mean, you got Venezuela, Argentina has serious troubles. Brazil is having serious troubles. Ecuador is having problems. The whole place is just going south in a hurry.
Right. But as you've seen, every country that is falling apart at the seams, the system has choked out with tariffs.
Yeah.
They're on their knees, John. They're on their knees.
Yeah.
Begging
they can't get
for
stuff.
a democracy. They're begging for a democracy because guess what? Socialism doesn't work, does it?
No, it never has and never will.
It brought them to their freaking knees. This isn't something
Venezuela
that
was
just
the fifth
happened
largest
last week.
country. Venezuela was the fifth largest economy less than 10 years ago. Less than 10 years ago. The fifth largest. Socialists came in, destroyed it in no time.
Right. And this isn't something people are like, somebody said something really stupid and said, well, if this is the time where the political system is set up, I just don't see how this could happen in 2.5 months. I just don't see how it could happen that fast. It didn't happen that fast, you fruitcake. It's been happening since 1948. Shit.
Yeah.
For decades, guys. This didn't just happen overnight.
Right. The final steps might take 2.5 months.
Right.
But this whole thing has been going on for decades.
But that's because it's already been set up. It just wasn't. God just said it isn't time yet. So they just kept going and choking them out and putting in socialism and hurting people for decades, and coming closer and closer and closer. And the birthing pains are closer and closer and closer until guess what happens, guys? God says it's time. I'm pissed off and I'm coming for ya. Hello? That's because God said so. Not the Kenites, not Trump, not whoever else you're watching for. Get your sunglasses off. Get your shaders off. It's happening because it's time. It's happening because God's letting it happen. He said, I'll hand that sword to Lucifer. He's handing him the sword. Go ahead. And like Olive said earlier, Lucifer and his fallen angels are not coming for the world, technically. Guess who it says who they're coming for? He wages war against the saints. He's coming straight for us, guys. Straight for us. He already has the rest of everybody else. He's got your rapture believers. He's got your Catholics. He's got your Muslims. He's got your Hindus. He's got everybody but the saints. And he's coming right for you.
I know we are the real prize here at the end.
Right. He's coming with fury because he knows he only has 2.5 months. He only has 2.5 months to come here saying he's Jesus with his little angels, his nasty, demonic, dirty, ruthless, fallen angels, to come here and say, I'm here to save you. I am Jesus. We are your salvation. You know how you can trust us angels. We're angels. Come on and jump in our wagon. We're here to fly you away. That is one of Lucifer's biggest nets to catch you in, is that he's coming to fly you away. God says, and I hate those who teach my children to fly to save their soul. He hates them. Because it's not happening, folks. Because that's Lucifer who's going to tell you that. Don't jump in that wagon. Be the one left in the field. And God says, watchmen, watch and warn the people from me. You tell them Lucifer comes before Christ. Lucifer comes before our true King. And if you don't warn the people from me, their blood shall be on the saints' hands. So don't get mad at me because I'm sounding the alarm. Don't talk. Go ahead, talk shit behind my back because you're going to do it anyways. You're a fool. You sit here, you don't think that I don't see it? I see it. I watch everything. My eyes are out like a hawk on everything. I may miss something once or twice, but don't think I don't have your number. I'm doing what God has instructed me to do, which is warn the people from me. You tell them who comes first. It's Lucifer. Get your head out of the sand. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Daniel brings up a good point here. We've got a lot of oil here because we are now the #1 oil producer in the whole world right now in the United States.
Right. Others who have had children, yeah. Well, the pre-trib rapture is hearsay. It is not biblically documented. And you can go ahead and Olive will be on this like white on rice and show you exactly verbatim what the Bible tells you. The whole rapture theory was a nun who had a nightmare, told the priest the next day, and then when they went live with it saying that this was truth, she got murdered because she said, no, you guys, it was just a nightmare. This isn't true. They killed her. This was just some woman's nightmare because she had some bad beans or something. This was a lie, and it is being used by Lucifer to lie to you so that you think when he comes with all his glory and all his magic and his peace and his chicken in every pot, that you fall for him. And I'll tell you why that's true, because God says so. He says the whole world whores after the beast except for the elect, except for those small people who know the truth that are sounding the alarm right now, telling you he's coming. Lucifer's coming, guys. Wake it up. And he's coming with all of those verses and the one verse Charlies who stand at the pulpit and lie to you with their sugar lips and don't know the Bible from anything, from a hole in the ground, and they're lying to you. They're killing you spiritually, and you've let it happen because you choose not to read God's word, because you choose to follow man's traditions instead, because you don't go check them out, because you don't open up God's word and read it for yourself, just like the rapture people. Oh, don't read Revelations. That wasn't meant to be read. That's not for you. Don't you worry about it because we're going to be gone before that happens. Do you know that Revelations means to reveal? Do you know that that's God speaking himself to you? He made it pretty damn clear. So when a pastor is telling you don't read it, that should be the first damn thing you do is say, you know what? God wrote this letter to us and he said, read it. Learn it. He didn't say skip a chapter. He didn't say, well, don't read the end of the story. The only reason why those pastors are telling you not to read it is because then you would find out that every damn thing they said was a lie. That's just a trick.
Well, I always tell the rapture crowd to start reading 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, and they never do.
Of course.
But I always tell them to start reading there, and it spells it out real plain and clearly, and they'll never read it. You know, they just want to know that.
And John, what does what does it say in 2 Thessalonians?
Well, it says that we are not going to be gathered back until after Satan is here. I mean, it spells it out perfectly, and we have to go through this. And most people they say, "Oh, I'm not going to be here when Satan's here. I was talking to one guy who goes, "Well, I'm already in Christ, so I don't need to be punished." Well, if you're already in Christ, you won't be punished, you know. But he doesn't look at it that way. He thinks, you know, it just gets silly. It gets silly after a while.
That's because they're not looking at God's word. They're not actually paying attention to what God has said because their pastors or preachers are telling them don't worry about it, or they don't read it because they haven't been taught that either. And it really gets on my nerves where all these pastors are out there talking about all this stuff, and yet they're so biblically illiterate that they can't answer any questions. They just say, well, this is the way that it is. Well, why is it that way? God never leaves anybody wondering. He gave us the answer for everything. For God has foretold us all things. It doesn't say part. It doesn't say 1 or 2 chapters. He said, I have foretold you all things. He doesn't leave us wondering. He's not a liar. God has never changed from the Old Testament to the New Testament. That's why
Diana brings up a great point here. Christ said, "Be not deceived. Why would he warn us if we weren't going to be here?" That's a very good point.
Amen, Diana. You're right.
Yes, very good point.
Okay, I just need to pop in. Diana, that was what you call a slam dunk. That was really good. That was really good. Okay, I'm gonna go back on mute now. So. That was so good. That was so good.
That is absolutely right. But you can sit there and you can tell them that until you're blue in the face and they still don't get it. But that's okay because what else did God say? That I'm going to put them in slumber. And that's for their protection. Yeah. He's so loving that even though he knows that they're unlearned and that they're going to fall for him, he says, you know what, to save them, I'm going to just put them to sleep and just let them go ahead and fall for him. Because we have, the millennium isn't going to be because we need to teach people the truth, because everybody's going to know the truth. It's about 1,000 years of discipline. And I heard Pastor Murray say this today.
Right.
It's not to teach people the truth. It's going to be having them to teach them 1,000 years of discipline. That sucks.
I always liked it when Pastor Murray starts talking about discipline, because being in the Army and being a Marine, the second he starts talking about discipline, he just perks right up when he starts talking about that every time.
He
He
does.
really
doesn't
gets
he?
excited about discipline. He gets so excited about that. He says, "Yeah, I'll take some of those punk kids and give me about 3 weeks with some of those punk kids, and I'll turn them around."
Exactly. Oh, this kind of stuff just totally gets my goat. But you know what? It's supposed to happen. So we have to take in consideration the population of the world right now, and then you have the whole world whoring after this beast, and God says, "And you will be ridiculed, and for my name's sake." For Jesus' sake, for his name's sake, they're going to do the same things, except they can't physically hurt us, but they're going to call us names, spit on us, say we're liars, we're crazy, we need to go to a mental institution, we need medication, we need checked out. These things God also told us were going to happen when we're saying these things. So that's prophecy coming to pass also. And if you think about the population... If you think,
and guess what? We are
put
not
us on the Dr. Phil show.
I was just going to say I'm not going to share my white jacket, but that's okay. Carry on. I'm sorry, John.
Together's definitely going to the ranch.
Right. But if you think about,
well, you know, you got to look at it from their perspective too. I mean, they see this guy appear out of nowhere in this spectacular fashion and says, "I'm Jesus Christ. I'm here to help out. I'm here to save everyone." Blah blah blah, all this kind of stuff. Or it's time for me to save everyone, and do a couple of miracles and all that. The rest of these idiots out there are going to say, "Well, nobody else can do miracles like that. How come you don't believe them?" You know, that's the kind of argument that we're going to get. You know, the evidence is so overwhelming. Why don't you believe it?
You're absolutely
That was
right.
so good, John. That was so good.
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. I mean, because they're totally enthralled by it. It's like, oh, they see a dog and pony show and they fall for it, but we don't. And they just will never be able to figure out why we don't fall for it like they did.
Right. Well, and the thing
Seems so obvious to them at that point.
The thing of it is we got to think about the amount of population that have already fallen and the rest of them that'll go versus the people that know the truth. We're a very small number. So it's going to seem overwhelming. It's going to seem that way. And it already does. There's not that many people who are going to stand at the end. So there's only it 7,000?
We are a microscopic, compared to 7 billion people, we are a microscopic percentage of that.
Right. But even though our flesh army is small, we have God on our side and we're okay. We've got it doesn't matter if they have 7 billion of the suckers. We have God.
Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, you're always going to win if God's on your side.
A small price to pay for salvation.
Amen. That's the truth of that one. You know, so it's not, it's not too hard to sit back and look at what's going on. If you know the truth, you can see it passing, you can see these things happening. And never have set a date. I've never set anything. I just said, look what's happening. Look at what's happening around you. And it's matching with prophecy. So I'm going to be really, really interested to see if Russia, what Russia's going to do with Turkey, what Syria's going to do, and if they make it towards Damascus. Because I think once they get to Damascus, if this is what's going to happen, boy, I think shit's going to hit the fan. So I'm just watching,
Yeah, and that's all we can really do is just watch and see what's going on. But I mean, it's getting mighty interesting right now. I mean, we just, you know, there's still a few other things that kind of need to go together. But I think the overall feeling I get is that everything's going to happen almost simultaneously. That's what I'm really thinking.
Right, because it already is.
And everything's going to happen. I mean, I think we need to see some more financial stuff happen yet, but I think that stuff could happen so quickly that they could just crush Damascus and look, they're going into Jerusalem, and the stock markets could just collapse overnight too. So I mean, there's
Right.
a lot of things that could happen.
Because you've said that before. You said overnight, Amber. Overnight that could happen. And it's true. It's already on the cusp. It's already breaking down. It's kind of already on its face. They're just blowing it up here and there before they have to admit it. It's already on its face. They're trying to throw out a lifeline, and they're trying to save it. It's not working. It's not working because what the system is doing, and using Trump as their spokesman, is he's finishing breaking off the rest of it. He's crushing. The system is crushing the world. It's crazy to watch. And while people are busy watching for one thing, or no, this has to happen first. Nope, it's not because this didn't happen. Well, maybe that's not what was supposed to happen, because look at what is happening. What is happening is more of a telltale sign than what isn't happening. Do you guys get that? Quit looking for things that aren't going to happen, aren't biblical. Look at what is happening, because then it'll help you figure out the rest of it, because it's pretty damn amazing. And like John said, it's going fast, like I said, and John just reaffirmed, they're going to happen and are happening simultaneously. Example of that.
Go ahead.
Example of that happening is when the United States, and I just want to bring this out because this is a good example, when the U.S. pulled out of cereal, I always call Syria cereal. When the United States pulled out of Syria, Turkey happened simultaneously. They even passed each other on the road. One was going out, one was going in. It's simultaneously. So what were you saying, John?
Well, here's the other thing too. All it would take is to shut down the Straits of Hormuz or anything like that. And all of a sudden, you've got oil prices spiking through the roof, and which could just kill off the entire world's economy overnight. So it's you tack on $7, $8, $10 gallon gas here in the United States, and this economy is sunk. It's over, and it wouldn't take much. You could have some other side things happen over there where maybe something happens there with some more of those tanker ships out there, that it wouldn't take much at all to just blow it up completely.
Right.
I mean, literally, physically, and figuratively. We can't. This economy is hanging on by a thread right now. If you double the oil prices right now from $3 to $6 a gallon for everybody,
oh my God,
this economy is over. It'd be over.
Oh yeah. And look what's happening right now, and that could be actually happening right in front of our eyes, because look at how California, since this whole takeover or whatever the hell is happening there, I'm not too sure exactly what this is. Look at their gas prices are just skyrocketing. Are they going to do this to the rest of us?
$5 or $6 a gallon.
Are they going to do this to the rest of us, John? Are we next?
They could be test marketing this, for all we know, because they do a lot of test marketing. The Kenites are good at test marketing things. They almost are the focus group king. They do this kind of stuff.
Right.
I wouldn't rule it out.
And
they could be seeing what's going on.
I have some really interesting news. Dave Hodges, which I believe him because he's been on this since it started, and it makes sense because all of the UN or all of the police force that people are calling the UN that's entered America, everybody's been reporting for a week or however long it's been, almost a week, that they have seen Chinese forces. Well, it's said by Dave Hodges that the United States gave China the role of the world police, and that's how they're going to be paid.
That's very curious.
So what really was in that deal that they're striking?
Yeah, what's really in there? We don't know because it'll never be released to us.
Well, Trump, or this, we'll just call it the system, broke down China's economy to the point where they need money. It would make sense. They're like, okay, well, why don't you take the job as the world police? Well, why is everybody seeing? Nobody has said they saw black or white, or they said they saw. Well, I have heard reports of, they put it out in California in Russian and Chinese. So wouldn't it make sense that Russia and China could be the world police? Because what is Russia doing in the Middle East right now? They're policing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
They're doing the same thing.
Right. So that's weird.
Well, there's a lot happening, and it's getting to be more of a fever pitch every day.
Right. And it's happening fast. And I just thought about that. That just hit me today when Trump's like, well, it's Russia's turn. And then Dave Hodges is like, hey, wait a minute. You know, this deal, and then how I posted it in the room, but how everything's coming together, that China was given, along with Russia, the job of being the world police, and that's how they're going to be paid. That's how China's going to be paid. Plus they were given a good deal on food. Plus they were given the right to send 1 million workers over to work our farms. But that was
That I'm not.
that pisses me off. But that was only allowed to happen after the system broke China economically. So what economics are you exactly waiting for? Because there is so many economics worldwide that have already fallen.
Well, I think we're the last ones because we have the advantage because we can print all the money we want. Other countries really can't do that. So it's a tough thing to do. And since the dollar is the world's reserve currency, that gives us a very unfair advantage over everyone else. That's why we're going to be the last ones to fall. I'm looking for something big to happen maybe in Europe. You never know. Again, high gas prices here could also make things very different too. Could cause hyperinflation. I see Stuffed Beagles kind of joking around here. When people can't get their Mickey D's and beer, they're going to go crazy. And they will. Well, imagine this. Imagine a Big Mac being $25. That could happen later on with hyperinflation. That is not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, do you remember when Pastor Murray said that you'll have to work all day for a loaf of bread? Sorry, folks. No meat and potato. No meat, just potatoes.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
this is why I always tell people to have stuff on hand, especially food and water and other supplies that you're going to need, because you might not be able to afford them for a while.
But that whole thing is happening even right now, because when I go into the store where I live, do you know how much I have to pay for 1 pound of meat? Almost $7. It's like $6.59 a pound. A pound.
Wow. Are you talking ground beef here, or what are you talking?
Ground beef. Do you know that in the stores where I live, if you buy 2 New York steak strips, it's $58?
Oh man, you're being hit with hyperinflation right now already.
Oh yeah, that's why I've been so concerned about California and saying, wait a minute, guys, I'm not that far from California, and my prices are going up. Gas is going up. We're almost at $4 a gallon now.
Well, I bought about 17 pounds of ground beef here not that long ago, actually about a month ago, and I got 90% lean for $2.90 a pound. Cost me about $50. That's a fraction of what you're paying.
My headphones totally died. Okay. You were saying earlier, what are your gas prices right now? They're still relatively low, correct?
Yeah, I put in high octane in my truck, and it's about $3.15 a gallon. I just filled up yesterday for the high octane, and it's about $2.80 for the regular 87 octane where I fill up. But I'm filling up over at Sam's Club and Costco, so I have a membership club that I go to. I'm starting to see that their lines are getting bigger and bigger all the time because more and more people are shopping at these places. They're trying to save money by going to the club stores now.
Right. And I'm just wondering how long it would literally take, since whatever's going on in California, which is all pre-planned, I know it is, for this to spread.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to spread fast.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're already seeing it where you live.
Right.
And I'm not surprised, too, in these smaller communities, that Agenda 2030, they're trying to make maximum pain for people that live in small cities to get everybody to move into a big city. That's what they're trying to do. And you're seeing it right there front and center for yourself.
Right. Everybody said, oh, move out into the country. The country's going to be safer. Move out to the country. Well, it's higher priced in the country than it is in a city.
Oh, yeah, much higher. I'm from a small town in Wisconsin originally, and I was back there about 5 years ago, and I was in the main grocery store in that town, and it all looked like convenience store pricing for everything. I mean, this is 5 years ago, and a pail of ice cream was, I think, $7.50, $8 or something like that. It was crazy, and this is right in the heart of dairy country.
Well,
You're surrounded by thousands of Holsteins.
Right now, we pay $5 for a gallon of milk. $5 a gallon of milk.
Wow. Wow.
That's horrible.
I'm paying about half that.
There's some
I'm
places.
paying right around $3, actually, about $2.80 to $3.
There's some places where I can go find it on sale, but your general price for a gallon of milk is $5, and that's right across from cows. Just pointing that out. That was weird.
Wow.
It's like, wow.
Yeah. Well, I actually grew up on a dairy farm, so we had our own bulk tank. So we just went down and got a couple of gallons from the bulk tank and brought it up to the house.
Nice. Nice.
We always had our own beef every year. We butcher a steer every year. Sometimes even raised chickens. We had chickens in the freezer. I mean, we had plenty to eat. And we had a huge garden, and we'd can or freeze a lot of that too. And my mom would buy crates of peaches and pears and that back in the day, and we'd can all of them. We had this huge thing. We had literally our own 7-Eleven down in the basement. It was just incredible.
Do you know that now is seen by the government as illegal?
Yeah, and you're being self-sufficient. But you see, when I was a kid, I'm 57, so when I was a kid, people were still, in that part of the country, were still doing it kind of old school from hundreds of years ago. You raised stuff in the summertime, got it ready for the fall harvest, and you ate for the winter. That's what you did.
Right. Well, even my family, I'm only 39, but my great-grandmother raised me, and her husband owned a butcher shop, and our family had a farm, and they killed cattle, and this is when it used to be the old times where they'd swing a huge iron thing on a swing, and they'd let it go, and it'd bonk them in their head. That's how they were killing them. Yeah. They had chickens. They cut their heads off. They butchered all their own meat. My grandmother went through the Depression, so she knew how to can. She made everything from scratch. And that's how I grew up. So to see everything change even just from me now, and what I'm hearing is that they are coming down on anybody who is living off grid, who is storing food. People are being watched to the amount of food you buy, when you buy it, how much of it you're buying. They're watching everything because they don't want anybody being self-sufficient. Yeah. That's scary. Yeah. Well, I've always been a little bit more stealth about how I buy things. Like I'll buy some here and I'll buy some there, kind of spread it out so it doesn't cause as much
attention. And that's what I try to do. So one of the nicer things about buying stuff in a like a Sam's Club or a Costco is you can go in there and buy a fair amount of things and you don't really stand out that much. So it's kind of nice that way. Whereas you walk into a Kroger store or somewhere else, you're going to stand out if you buy 15 pounds of hamburger.
Except for now, you just told everyone.
Yeah. Well, I can still be pretty stealthy.
Right, but yeah, so I don't know exactly what's coming to our country. I don't know if it even biblically says that. I know the system takes over, or almost does. So I don't know how far they're going to get, because God still protects us. So I don't know how far that'll get before Lucifer shows his face. So I guess we'll just have to watch.
Yeah. And of course, you always have to look at one thing too, is Lucifer does have parameters that he has to stay within too. He can't harm one hair on our head. So when you kind of look at that, it looks like we are going to have ways of doing it. Plus God will take care of us. That's the way it's going to work, So I'm not that worried about it.
Right. Daniel said, what blows my mind is a gallon of milk is the same as a gallon of gas. Think about the work involved to get milk compared to gas. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to have a female cow for about 2 years before you can get anything out of her.
That's crazy.
It's about a 2-year process, or so, a little over 2 years, actually.
And Olive, I was wondering if you wanted to come in and kind of say, anything maybe biblically we should be looking out for. You've been awfully quiet, and you're usually the one with the zingers there.
Oh, you guys are doing fantastic. EA made me want to go get a bowl of cereal. So I had a bowl of cereal. So that's what I was doing. I was cutting up in the chat and I was eating my cereal. But this is good stuff. And Daniel said, that's EA said, how do I get in the combo? I thought it was Daniel, but EA, I download Zoom and put in that code and they can come on in.
Well, I just broke my spoon. Is there anything, Olive, that you...
You just broke your spoon. You're so funny.
Yeah, I'm eating General Tso's chicken. Which a little thing of that, let's see what the price was. $5.83 for a couple pieces of chicken. Wow.
Wow, that is terrible.
Well, I can get a hold of rotisserie chicken over at Costco for $5.
Nice. I love that. I love Costco's rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, we have them every so often. We have a Costco quite close to us.
Wow. He wants some of that chicken. He's saying, let me in on the good stuff.
Right.
Let me in on the good stuff.
So is there anything biblically, Olive, that you think we should be keeping our eye out right now that would be kind of like...
No, you covered it really well. You really did, and so did John. I mean, guys need a round of an applause.
I think pretty much where our focus should be is Jerusalem, because I'm having a feeling that things are going to be changing. Watching Syria, really, but also keeping our eye on Jerusalem, because I have a feeling something's going to change, and something's going to change fast. So,
yeah, things are changing fast. They really are. And if you're not watching, and you're not going to see how it's changing so fast. And it's going to punch you guys in the face so bad if you're not watching, because that's how fast that it's going. Things are going so fast.
Well, just think about this. Just think about this. Let's say Bibi puts a government together, and then they get close to Damascus. He sees that as a threat, and they start launching air raids over in Damascus and taking them on right there in Damascus. I mean, just think what that would do worldwide to everything. That would turn everything upside down, just like that.
It really would. And but I don't think Netanyahu's coming back. I don't either. I used to really think that he was chosen. I thought that the elections were a scam. I mean they are a scam, but I thought that he for sure was chosen to be their leader. And but I just don't think he's coming back. I don't.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying whoever's in charge at that point.
Yeah.
If they do something like that, we don't know. Who do you think? But
he could come back. So I mean, yeah. I mean, he could come back. But according to this very prominent rabbi, he had a quote unquote vision 40 years ago. And this is not a vision from God. It's from those seducing spirits. And he said that Israel is not going to have a government. And he gave the year 5780. That is us right now. So his 40-year vision matched up to what is going on right now. On September 29th, I believe, or September 30th, is when it officially became their Hebrew year of 5780. Wow. So
that's an amazing prediction.
Yeah, but what else he said is that their Moshiach is going to enter in at that time too. He said there will never be a government, and there is no government right now. And these people have a direct line to Satan. Wow. Okay, they do, and those and the demonic realm. So, and then you have that lady who gave her vision in 2016. Okay, and then she had a dream after the vision. Very prominent Jew lady. Making around, she made around. She's very famous in Israel. The vision started off like another very prominent rabbi that's dead now, and this rabbi wrote a letter about this vision because he was taken to some dimension, and these Jews worship this letter. And then she's crying and boogers are coming out. But see, that's like emotional warfare. That's to get your guard down to seduce you with their lies. She is clearly reading a script, right? And then she goes on to her dream. And then the dream, it starts off with a rainbow over Jerusalem. Well, Jerusalem just had that rainbow. And it came out of nowhere because a so-called storm came in that none of their weather folks predicted. But see, rainbows are not hard to create. That's not a hard thing for man to do. And there's a reason for that rainbow. And then shortly after, in her dream, the Muslims surround Jerusalem, and they enter in, and these Jews are crying out to their Moshiach, and they're crying out, and then this big bright star starts coming down, ascending from the heavens. And the best way to describe the bright star, because they made a video to give their best representation to her dream. I don't know if you guys have seen what happened in 2011 over the Dome of the Rock. A big ball of light came down. It just came down and it floated over the dome of the rock. And it was like illuminating, it was pulsating, and then all of a sudden it shot up. That is exactly what was shown in this lady's dream. And I think that is how Satan's going to make his grand entrance. But see, that's my opinion. He might be coming in doing some cartwheels. I don't know. But, things are ramping up very fast. And the ones you really have to watch are the Jews, because they're the Kenites. They are Satan's spawn. Daniel tells us that they are the small group of people that Satan enters in with when he's appearing on the scene. So you watch them, and if you listen to their quote unquote prophecies, they have changed dramatically. They are now making bolder statements by saying he's shortly going to be here. And it's just like that 40-year-old, what he said for the year 5780. And there has been no elections yet. I don't know. And I think they're calling for elections. Netanyahu has till October 24th to form his government. Pay attention. Something's going to happen. That's my opinion. And especially with the kings on the east and these Arbes on the move, and they're getting ready to surround Jerusalem. What is today? It's the 17th. So there's only a few more days until the 24th. So it's going to be interesting to see what plays out, and if they call for new elections. So pay attention to the stuff. Daniel studied, and he studied his enemies. He was, just even at the age of 16, he was the smartest guy in Babylon because he studied all of their books. He studied them. You study your enemy, and the truth is your armor. You have to armor up. So I'm just saying that because I find it interesting. So, I'm not trying to say that you're wrong, John, and I'm not trying to disagree, but we will truly see, because there very well might be, because deception is their game. But we will definitely see is if a government is formed, and if one will truly be elected or put into office there as their PM. We shall see.
I wanted to bring up something out of what you said. Think about it really hard, folks. At the same time that God's children are sounding the alarm, at the same time, simultaneously, the Kenites are sounding the same alarm at the same time.
Yeah.
So why is that?
That's a good one right there. Yeah.
Because they know.
Everybody seems to be on the same page. They know. They've got the inside track.
Yeah, they do.
And they're sounding.
We don't have the inside track. We have to react to it.
Oh, we have the inside track from God, but they have the inside track from Lucifer. If they're saying that their father is on his way, and we're saying Lucifer is on his way, 99.9% chance that, guess what, he's on his way.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got God's children and Lucifer's children crying the same cry. Pay attention to it. Study, like Daniel, study your enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a good
point. That's what you always do.
Right. But don't study the enemy so far that you lose track of what God has also told you, because then you'll start believing what the enemy is saying, and we have to keep that armor on us. We have to keep the truth on, because as all of his
That's right. Because they're seducing spirit.
Right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say as all of us said. I mean, every show it's seducing. It's wholly seducing.
It is.
And it sounds sweet.
It is. It is. You can be sucked in real fast.
And remember, Lucifer only twists things a little bit. A little here, a little there, to where he gives you the truth, but seduces you by a little lie, and that little lie takes you off down to Primrose Lane. Like Pastor Murray has said, don't let any man take you off to Primrose Lane. And it could be one word. One word translated wrong gives you the rapture. One word translated the wrong way gives you a whole different story than the truth. Be very, very, very careful of those seducing words. Be very careful of those mistranslations. Okay? That's just my warning for the moment, because I guess I've had a lot of warnings, but Booney, you can't join in on the radio show. Bad Booney. So basically, I'm looking at ending this stream here, because I really don't have any more news or anything to talk about. If anybody in the group has anything to say, any questions, this would be a great time for question time. If you want to bring up anything yourself, maybe we should all check the current news real quick. I'll bring up a couple of my things that I look at. See if there's anything. Oh, here we go. Arab Christians are praying for... here we go! Boy, I'm glad I opened up my mouth. Arab Christians pray for peace in Syria and in Jerusalem. This is a prayer session being held, which drew more Christians from more than one sect of the faith. It was orchestrated by the Jerusalemite Initiative. Christian Arabs gathered together on Tuesday evening in Jerusalem to pray for the Church of the Holy Sepulchre for peace for the Kurds. Remember I told you earlier that they were gathering and crying, and the UN and everybody's involved crying for peace? The prayer session, which drew Christians from more than one sect of the faith, was orchestrated by Jerusalemite Initiative, a joint Jewish-Christian NGO that is based in the Holy City. Weird this is happening right in Jerusalem, huh? In their prayers, participants asked for the people of Syria with focus on the Kurdish people, Christians, and other civilians fighting to defend themselves from Turkey. They're crying for peace, you guys. I'm going to post this for you, because I'm glad I said something, because that just backs up what I said earlier. Thank you, God. You work in just mysterious ways, Lord. Boy, let's get those naysayers pinned down, shall we? Pin him down, ba-boom, bing, bada, bang, boom, boom. Let's see, there was something else. Iran-backed militias deploy snipers in Iraq. See, I told you, they're not just coming from Turkey. They're coming from across the river Euphrates. Iran had already taken over Iraq. They're on the move, you guys. I'm going to post this. Oh... this just gets me crazy when I say this stuff is happening. And no, they're not happening. It's not. Well, it's happening. Crazy. Just makes me so frustrated. I sit here and I don't just pull this out of my rear end. I'm sitting here day and night. I'm not even really sleeping. And that doesn't make me crazy. I don't need much sleep. How could you sleep in a time like this? How can you? I can't. I can't sleep when this stuff is happening. Okay, so
Can you guys hear me?
Who's that? Say it again.
Hey, this is EA.
Oh, hi EA. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I thought you were a girl.
That's
I
what
am
I thought.
so sorry. I am so sorry. I thought you were a girl.
My name's EA Fight Show. How's that a girl?
Hey, we like
I
sports
don't
too.
know. But I usually am wrong in my assumptions, so it's nothing against you.
Oh wow! Did I come off girly somehow?
No, you did not. So now I feel like a retard. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry.
So yeah, you're the one. I have a lot of questions for you. Good. How are you?
Okay, so who do you?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah. So.
You're gonna have to limit the noise in the background, EA, because we can't hear you with all what's going on in your background.
Oh no. Okay.
Well, that's okay. Or we can even save this for another night because I'm probably going to have to go here within the next few minutes. But you can ask a question. No, but you can ask a question if you want, and then we can carry this on.
I had some questions about your end time prophecy, the way that you guys view it.
Well,
trying to understand it more. I know you've tried to explain it like 700 times already.
Well, that's totally okay.
But I think it's see, I just got into Christ. I'm just a babe in Christ, and I don't know how long you guys have been into your guys' church and stuff, but from just reading the Bible, I walked away with post-trib, pre-rap. But then when I hear your guys' theory on it, and I'm very open-minded to other things. I want to know everything. That way I can know what's real.
It's not our theory, though. It's not our theory.
Well, I mean Arnold Murray's or whatever.
Yeah, because and Sam, if you give me your email,
I'm posting theory right now.
Because I have a lot of studies that I have even done on this myself. There's a lot of misconceptions, like even with Thessalonians about meeting the Lord in the air, right? And
air means spirit.
Yeah, but this is where a lot of people get pulled into this rapture stuff because
I know that was made up in 1830 by some little girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that comes with the rapture is fear. Okay. And fear is not of the Lord. And if you think about this, if you go to our prophets and you go to the disciples and you go to the apostles, and if you look at all the martyrs for Christ, not one of them got raptured. Folks have gotten burned alive. They have been beheaded, killed, and in the most horrific ways. And they have done that for Christ. Now, some might bring up Elijah and Enoch. Well, if you read in Malachi, Elijah is going to be one of the two witnesses because he's going to prepare the way for the second advent. And the second advent is the second coming of Christ.
Okay. So here's where you lost me. Okay, let's start with step one, and I'll give you my. Or here, let me just give you my rundown because I want to really understand what you guys teach, your guys' teachings, because in the end, when it comes to eschatology and all that stuff, we as Christians we can disagree on something like that. There's things that we definitely don't want to disagree on, like the blood covenant. So there's, but we just can't get, I see a lot of the people calling each other heretics and stuff just because they believe
Yeah,
in
I don't
something.
agree in that stuff.
So
Yeah.
just know that if I don't believe what you don't believe, that's okay, because in the end we both believe in Christ and all that. But I'm very interested because, like you said in the past, we all feel like something's going on here.
Yes, most definitely.
I mean, he said his sheep knows his voice.
Mhm.
And so I'm really interested. So you're for the first, okay, in your teachings, the first thing to happen, is it the first seal, first trump? What is the first thing to happen?
Well, the first thing is, there's a lot that pertain to the end time events. There's a bunch to just, to just name them all and to go through it. But see, the seals are not in order. They are
Yeah, you
not
said that.
yeah.
The deadly
Why is
wound.
that?
Wait.
You did
It's not.
that.
It's not exactly just fair to put Olive on a spot like this, because this is a huge study,
And there's so much.
and there's
There's so much.
And what you need to do
Okay,
is,
so
because hold on. What you need to do is
okay.
the deadly wound. And I'll post it in the room. I've already posted you one link. Don't know if you paid attention. I can post you the next link, which will explain to you how the seals work, what order they are in, why they're out of order, and the proof backing that. Because you're asking Olive to open up about a 50,000 hour conversation to try to.
But he doesn't still I understand. So
Right.
Yeah, I'll check out that Deadly Beast video. I checked out the Trumps and Seals videos. I mean, I listened to them twice actually, just trying to really understand it.
Right.
Here's what I think, and just this doesn't go by what someone taught me. I read the Bible and I started looking for a church that went by what I believed in, and then from just reading it, and then seeing that there's people that read it themselves, and there's churches that believe in what I believe from just reading it. No one taught me what I believe now. So I found that church. And so for the first thing in the post-trib pre-wrath, okay, there's got to be the beginning of sorrows, which is the wars and rumors of wars, and the great, and the earthquakes. And I kind of see that going on now. To us, the first seal, the white horse that has a bow. This is the first time I've ever heard of the bow being like a rainbow. I've always been taught it was like a bow and arrow, but a bow without arrows.
now, I'm going to ask you something because you brought up a really important thing. When you read Matthew 24, Mark 13, and in Luke, and you go down these events, right? It says, so when you hear wars of rumors of wars, the time is not yet. And then it goes down, and then Christ, he tells us to learn the parable of the fig tree. And then he goes down, and then it says some are going to be delivered up in the synagogues, and then you go down. It lays it out in Matthew 24, and in Mark 13, and in Luke, and nowhere in those three books that has to do with Christ speaking about what's going to happen. Nowhere does it say that anybody is going to leave, right? They're going to be taken. In fact, Christ says to flee Judea. When you visually see the abomination of desolation spoken by the prophet Daniel, that is in Daniel chapter 9. That is Satan. So that is when you are visually, Christ says, so when you visually see the abomination of desolation to flee Judea. He's saying flee Jerusalem. That is spiritually and physically. And then he goes on and he says to pray that your flight is not in the winter or on the Sabbath. Well, what is winter? That is a season of death. Everything is dead. Everything is dead. And that is a representation of Satan. Now, Christ said to pray that your flight is not on the Sabbath. Well, that is because Christ is our Sabbath. And the priesthood were specifically ordered not to leave, not to travel on the Sabbath days. We are his royal people, his royal priesthood. We are the bride of Christ. So if Christ is telling his bride not to leave, stay in him. Do not be in death. Stay in him. Okay? Then there's no reason to think that you're going to be raptured out. And I'm just going off of that alone. I'm not going off of, because I can go through and like Amber, still take hours. So I'm just trying to do a simple breakdown.
I don't believe in the rapture either.
You don't believe in the rapture?
No, I believe that when God comes back, he's going to be coming back in the clouds, and we turn into our spirit bodies in the twinkling of an eye.
And that's
and
what First Corinthians. Now, when do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that's going to happen?
Seal?
Okay, but do you think that the seventh seal happens before or after Satan?
Happens after Satan. Satan comes first.
Okay, so I think that you're using the wrong word here, because when you say pre-trib rapture, that's like saying that you're going away before the tribulation.
No, I believe in post-trib pre-wrath. So that means after the tribulation, before God's wrath.
Okay, so I don't understand why that you use
our
the
difference
term
is
rapture.
That's just like, I don't know what else to call it. Second coming.
Yeah, I would call it that. I definitely would not call it a rapture, because a rapture is being like you're being grabbed or taken. Because Christ is coming here, and he's going to gather the elect from the four corners of the earth, because he's coming here. See, that's how bad terms are. Okay, see, and you can use it if you want, but it's going to confuse folks like it did me, because the way that the rapture is, it's so boldly spoken, is that you're going to get taken into heaven, and you're going to have a party up there while Satan is chopping head. Yeah. So that's like basically what the rapturists believe. They have it, prior to it all happening, and mid, like in the middle. So I'm sorry, I got confused there. Oh my.
No, so can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So no, like I think what I'm trying to figure out is your seals and your dates. Okay. And I'm going to have to check out that video of the whole seals and stuff being mixed up, because I don't understand that. But if you take it literally to me, I just kind of come out with, first seal, the first 7 seals have to happen, and then the trumps and the vials are simultaneous. you know, like I listen to the Revelations book pretty much every day on YouTube. Just listen to it. It takes like an hour, and after just listening to it over and over again, you know how you read a book and you kind of just get your own little picture in your mind. You get lost, like you're really there, imagination kind of stuff. That's what I've pictured. You know, the first seal would be the great falling away. The second seal would be the famine. The third seal would be the wars. The fourth, you know the seals, and then you relate it to parallel passages back, you know, in Matthew, Mark, and all those other books. You know, God and Jesus said it would be worse than the times of Noah. So you got to put that in a relation that it would. I'm thinking of like a Walking Dead kind of world without the zombies, and we're hiding from the government. That's what I'm thinking. But I'm not. I didn't. Yeah. I didn't know that you guys think we're in the 5th or 6th seal already, because when the disciples asked Jesus, you know, Lord, when are you coming back? What's the sign? He said, you know, after the tribulation, there has to be a great falling away, and when the sun goes black and the moon turns red, and the man of sin is revealed. So then,
he didn't
you
say
know,
after.
if you guys believe we're in the 5th or 6th seal.
He didn't say after.
It's not after. Yeah, it's not after. It's you're thinking of the apostasy. Who has the video turned up in the background? Because my voice is hitting my face. And it's terrible. Okay. Very good. It's not there. So, Paul, he's speaking of the great apostle, you know, that the great falling away.
That's when the fallen angels
all of
come.
All of this coincides together with the end times events. Like it all goes in together. There has to be a falling away. Like the falling away happens first prior to Christ's second coming, because they're gonna like want rocks and stuff to
fall on their heads because they're shamed.
On them. So what Paul is saying there is really just reiterating and giving more information to what Christ is trying to say, that when you see the abomination of desolation, because if you look at the context in that, it is singular. That's a one-time thing. And if you look around, I mean, you know, the falling away, I mean, folks have really fallen away. You know, like that's how far that we have gotten. If you read in Zechariah 1, and I know that you've heard me say this, and I really highly suggest to read the book of Zechariah. It's a powerful book, and you have a future.
So, yeah, definitely. That's all I do is read, because I work overnights and I just listen to the Bible all night. And I'll jump in when you go on because you got interesting things to say. You know, why don't you think the famine would be if I watched that video you told me to, will I understand these questions? Why isn't the famine worldwide?
The famine isn't a famine for food. The famine is for the truth of God. It's not for food. It's for the truth of God, the word of God.
Yeah. And that's from the book of Amos. Amos tells you this. They tell you what the famine is. Yeah, it's not for bread or water. It's for the word of God. That's the famine on the land.
And silence is here. Dun, dun, dun.
But Pastor Murray will answer all these questions in detail. and he documents it, and then he tells you where to go for you to double verify everything. So,
so like for me, the way our church, we would look at it as the beginning of sorrows, the great falling away, the first seal. You know, we right now we're waiting for a temple to be built, and then the desolator to come in.
That's not going to happen. There's no temple.
Won't get built.
No, in fact, if you read in Daniel 11, it's the very last verse. It tells you that Satan's royal pavilion, okay, his royal pavilion is going to be erected when he's here.
Visually.
And he's going to do it. Visually, he's going to do it. I have the grammar down with what Paul was talking about. Satan's going to sit toward the temple of God, not in the temple of God. And you have to realize this. Okay, so let's say that they did build a third one for Satan, and it's sitting there right now, and they're dancing around it, and they're hoo-hawing. Okay, that's not a temple of God. We are his temple.
The body of Christ.
That's what we are. Yeah, the body of
what
Christ
I mean is like
his temple.
The temple that got destroyed.
The second temple, yeah, Solomon's.
The same one, you know, from the first one, you know, that one. They got to rebuild that one, right? And then
no, that's a lie by your Jews. That's a complete lie. We are his temple.
What is the desolation of isolation?
Lucifer.
To you guys and your.
That is Satan, the abomination of desolation. That is Satan. He makes a covenant with many.
What does he desolate?
Your soul.
He's the desolator.
Because he comes with lies. He comes in peace and prosperity. But what the great falling away is when Lucifer stands up in the place he ought not, which is Jerusalem, with his fallen angels, they come speaking great lies. They're here to kill a third of the men, not physically, but spiritually, because his story is, I'm Jesus. I'm here to save you. Everybody, the whole world whores after him, and in an instant everybody switches their religion to him. That is your apostasy. That is the falling away, because everybody thinks he's Jesus, because he tells you he is, and because those are unlearned and can't hear and see the truth, they believe it because they've been lied to by man.
Yeah, but you know, I think you know, like our seals and dates might be different in our teachings, but
hey Sam, can I ask you a question? Who's the lamb? Who's the lamb?
Yeah, that's Jesus. He was the last sacrifice.
Okay.
So here.
No. Hold on a minute. I am not done. Okay. I don't like to be interrupted. Okay. So Christ is our lamb. So when John tells us that Satan is going to appear as the lamb, but he's going to speak blasphemies, what do you take on that? What do you think? If Christ is our lamb and the Antichrist means instead of Christ, and he's going to appear as the lamb, what is 2 + 2 in your mind?
Yeah, I know exactly what. I know he's going to come as he's going to try to pretend he's Jesus and all that. That's exactly what I was going to say. Is both of our teachings both teach the same thing as far as the Antichrist comes first.
Well, that's special.
Okay.
But we're not teaching. We're sharing God's word. And one thing that those churches that are lying, they might say, like I said, Lucifer twists the truth. Okay, if they're teaching you that Lucifer comes first, great. But what they're teaching you leading up to his appearance is what's going to take you off track, because they're not telling you the truth. There's no temple being built. There's none of these things going to happen. So what they're making you do is miss the boat. You're missing the boat because they're lying to you. You don't see the signs. You don't see what's happening. You're
that's why I'm so interested in what you guys are trying to share and learn it.
And I really commend you for to have that open mind, because
I just got into the Lord. How am I supposed to just accept what I'm seeing now as what
right.
We're not trying to tell you to do that. It's just we're very upfront and forward, and we stand on the Word of God. So when we speak, we're speaking with the Holy Spirit, and that's God telling you those things, not me.
Yeah, but either way, we all gotta wait for that Antichrist and persecution.
Yeah, and the two witnesses.
Now, when Jesus comes back, do you think that the sun will be dark and the moon will be red?
Yeah, well, no. I think that you're getting that from the sixth seal. That's the sixth seal.
Yeah,
that's the sixth seal. And if you read in the book of Joel, it tells you the same thing right before the locust army, right before them, because they coincide, and the locust army is the supernatural army, and Joel's description, it matches with John. And the figs that are on the fig tree, those are the untimely figs. And I hope that your church does not say that you guys are untimely figs, because untimely figs mean out of season. We're out of season.
No.
And they're winter figs. But we are not winter figs.
But I was listening to Pastor Murray today, and that's weird that I heard that today, because apparently it was supposed to be shared. But when Jesus does arrive, he is such a bright light of love and truth and wonder that the sun and the stars, nothing is going to appear as bright as he is. That isn't because he's a big shining light per se physically. It's because of his love, and everything else in this whole world seems dim and dull.
Holiness.
Because he's
here.
Holiness. Right.
And yeah, and you're right, Amber, but that sun that or the moon that it turns into blood red, that is symbolic for death and bloodshed, and that's a spiritual death and a spiritual bloodshed.
Which we're talking about
and then the sun being darkened, because Satan copycats everything of God. But his is a perversionized version. That sun being darkened and the moon turn into blood, so you have the symbolic of the spiritual bloodshed, and then the sun, by being a darkness, is the darkness that is there. But the sun is still gonna shine bright, and the moon's still gonna be there, but you're getting a spiritual visual to what is being said.
So wait, hold on a second. You don't think the locusts are actual, really monstrous locusts? Do you think
they're fallen angels? No, yeah, they're going to be and they're not going to break their rank.
Which is documented in Revelation 9.
God's angels, they're beautiful. They're very beautiful. In fact, Satan was if you read in Ezekiel, he was the most beautiful one of all of the angels. And I'm not saying that as a compliment. I'm saying that because that's what the Word of God says. God made him that way. And when he arrives, he's going to be beautiful. He's not going to be some green-eyed Hulk monster, and then the fallen angels are not going to be scary beings. No.
They would believe that he was Jesus if they looked like horns and devils and monsters. They wouldn't believe he's Jesus.
But I think where folks are getting the idea of monstrous beings is because of the Geber, the spawn.
So
when the Geber came down and mated with women and then their offspring, yeah, those are monstrous. Their offspring.
you guys, so you know what's crazy is, like I said, I've been trying to know everything just so I can just sharpen my sword and defend myself when I need to. And did you know, fun little fact here, the Quran and the Sunnah, okay, their prophecy is literally our Antichrist.
Right. It's
Their savior is, so their prophecy, yeah, their prophecy plays out the exact same way our prophecy plays out, except for their Messiah is our Antichrist.
That's why we said earlier, listen to when the Kenites are saying our Father's on the way. When the Kenites, which are Lucifer's children, and
is
God's
the Kenites
children,
the Muslims?
The Kenites are Lucifer's seed line. That's a big one too. But when the Lucifer's children are crying out, when Lucifer's children are crying out at the same time God's children are crying out, we're sounding the alarm saying Lucifer's coming. They're sounding the alarm that their father's coming. So he's coming.
Yeah, they're saying the Muhammad army and stuff like that.
Yeah. And and what is in Judea now, they're Gentiles. That's what Christ said, that Jerusalem shall be trodden down. You have the time of the Gentiles, and that's what is taking place now. Those are not like the chosen folks. They are not. They are not. And I know
what
that
would you
many.
What would you make of the 144,000?
The 144,000
Jews?
No, not Jews. But Jews is a created word. Right. Jews just means Judah. It just means Judah. It's the Jews that made it into
a religion.
Like a religion. Yeah, and you had the Hebrews. They were Hebrews. So that was their race. And they're Ashkenazis. You have the Khazars and all of that. So they're imposters there. But the 144,000, so you have the elect. And then I also believe that you also have the very elect. Okay, the very elect. And so I believe that too. And that number is quite small. So they just have work to do. It doesn't make them above all. It just, because God's not a respecter of persons. And I don't believe one should be calling themselves an elect. I'll never call myself one, because God, that is his choice, right? So
so the elect is not saved.
Huh?
The people who are believing in Christ and saved, they're not the elect.
Well, yeah, they might not be, but that doesn't mean if somebody's not unelected, it doesn't mean that they're not saved. It just means that you had a different job.
So when
there's millions and millions that are going to be standing for God, standing for Christ. There's a lot. God's army is strong.
Would you? Because so when, okay, so the elect, outside of the 144,000, when Jesus comes back the second time and gathers his elect, that's the saved, right?
Well, yeah, they are saved, but it doesn't mean that they're the only ones that are saved. It doesn't mean that.
No, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And then the millennial kingdom happens after, immediately after the second coming, or do we go up for that, wedding?
No, after the second coming of Christ, we go into the millennium, and it is a 1,000-year period, and it is a teaching period.
He comes down here one time and gets us, and then it just
we're here with Christ.
So we don't go to heaven and celebrate
well, wherever God is, that's heaven. So he's coming here. He's going to be bringing his kingdom here, and we are his temple. So after the millennium,
in Revelations, when he's John's standing there and he sees a multitude beyond number, would that be the saints that were gathered up?
Those are the dead. The saints are those that have died prior, throughout all these years, that have died prior to the second coming of Christ. Because if you read, the saints, they're even asking Christ how long, because they want their vengeance to be done. They want their victory. And so
from being killed, right?
Yeah, from being the martyrs or killed or whatever, how that happened. But that could go back even from 100 years from
back to the disciples. Right.
Yeah.
See, our church believes the same thing. I just don't. Maybe I'm just uneducated.
No, you're not. You are not. No, you are not. You are doing great. Don't ever
I think I just need to study
yourself short. No.
Yeah.
No, you're doing great.
I'm excited for these times. I do pray for the Middle East right now.
And for being a baby in Christ, you're doing a good job. You're doing a very good job. That is a gift. That is definitely a gift.
Well, thanks. I'm trying real hard. It's all. I don't even listen to any of the music I listen to anymore.
It's showing. It really is showing.
So, Arnold Murray, I'm going to go check out that video after you guys get off here.
Yeah, and take notes and write what he's saying down, and then go and do your investigation.
Yeah, either way, we both just got to wait for that Antichrist to come first. And just be patient. It almost sounds like it'd be easier to die than to wait for his second coming. Because if you die, you just go to him. You know what I mean?
Oh, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But you have the endurance of the saints. The endurance. Yeah. It's hard, and you're doing a good job. And you have a purpose, and God, He put you here at the right time. At the right time.
I think so. Yeah, I'm so blessed, and I think
you are very blessed.
Do you think that how do you think the U.S. is going to go downhill? Like, when do you think people are going to be outside in your lawn?
That's a hard one.
You know.
That is a hard one. That's a hard question.
Half a year.
Well, to kind of answer that question, if entire Roman empires can fall and crumble in 3 days, in 3 days time, a lot can happen in just 3 days. So keep watching. We could wake up tomorrow. So
I also want to point out there that God promised, and God never goes on His promises, that Russia, and you can document this. This is Esau and Jacob are going to continue to be superpowers until the very end. America's never going to not be a superpower. So we're not going to crumble like Rome. We're not going to crumble because we've been promised to be the superpower until the end. And that's why that system that runs this first beast of Revelations is America, Russia, and the Kenites. So.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. That makes sense. That makes more sense than what I was thinking. I was just thinking we were the fourth beast because we're no other.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but things can fall.
We are Israel.
Yeah. And, but Amber, I just do need to point out though, nations do fall and they crumble. And they do crumble. I understand the super powers, but you also have those 10 supernatural kings too. And when those 10 supernatural kings, when they appear on the scenes, these fleshly kings aren't going to be nothing.
Right, but
it's going to be all about Satan and the supernatural.
Until
no, I understand that.
Up, so
no, I understand that. I'm just saying that people shouldn't be in a cozy environment.
Oh, no.
America is not above falling. It's not above that. And it could very well happen because, I mean, especially if you have UN troops here and they keep being sent in, what is that all about? Nobody, no nation is above a crumble.
No, but my point being to the fact that we are so close to Lucifer showing up, and I believe it, and I can get stuff together and come on tomorrow and talk about it. There might be hardships, and there might be things going on, but when this system, which is the second beast, takes over, the only people that this is going to be hard on is those saints. It's not going to be the rest of the world. The rest of the world's going to be okay because they're going to get a chicken in every pot. The saints, that's a whole different story, but God's got us. And I think as we near...
You think that'll be like forced religion?
It is, yeah. It's the harlot. And she's tender and delicate in a way. Yeah, it's not forced, it's seducing. Yeah, these folks, they choose it with their own free will.
And honestly, Olive and I have been talking about this stuff going on with the UN in California. We've been seeing Chinese. I got told today by Dave Hodges that China has been given the job to be, China and Russia has been given the job to be the world police, which that's kind of what Russia's doing over in the Middle East right now, but they're joining the other side. But we don't know.
Crazy.
We're watching what's happening, but it's so hard to tell because so much of it's being hidden. So I don't think Olive, and she can speak for herself, I don't think we've come into any kind of conclusion about what's going on. I'm rather confused, honestly.
Honestly, you come up with all these things that make me go, duh, that's right, that's what's happening. That's why I comment on your videos, because I wait for that answer that you just can't find yet.
Well,
and it's right now. And watch Jerusalem. That's what you want to watch. That's where a good place.
Ain't nothing been happening for the last week over there.
Oh, yes, it has. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. You have Israel. When this happened, we were live on a show a couple days ago, and John said, look, guys, this just came in. An Iranian oil tanker was hit by 2 missiles. I said, really, John? Wouldn't that be funny if that was Israel who did it? I said, because they just threatened that they were going to have to do a pre-attack. Well, it just came out today that guess who did it? Israel and Saudi Arabia. So it happened the way I said it was going to happen because Israel said they were going to do it. They are very busy right now.
It wasn't Turkey.
No, it was Israel. They are very worried right now because of being so vulnerable, because the United States is pulling out. They're feeling like they're alone, left on the map, like, holy crap, you guys are coming. They're trying to scramble to get their government together, which isn't working. Benji has, 7 days left? It's not going to happen. What are those, what are those people, the religious people in Israel are calling for the removal of Bibi. So they are very busy right now trying to keep their border security, which they really have none. They're watching all of these countries coming for them. I'm going to mute that right now because that's too loud. So Sam, I can't hear you for a second. I muted you because there's loud noises. But Jerusalem or Israel is protecting their borders. They see the countries coming for them. They're seeing Turkey coming. They're seeing Syria coming. They're seeing Iran coming. And they're telling everybody, hey, they're coming for us. And yet they don't have a government put together yet. So yeah, they're pretty dang busy right now with what they've got going on for serious.
Yeah.
Very busy times. But watch what happens on the 19th. We are supposed to... The military was set. They're deployed and they're waiting. The order is that our military goes into effect on October 19th. Will that bring martial law? Will that bring a change in our own country? I don't know. And like, you know, Olive and I talk about this all the time, and we're like, crap, you know, look what's happening. But yet we can't, I haven't been able to put my finger on it quite yet. I'm like, huh. But I went to Walmart and I went and got 10 pounds of rice, 10 pounds of beans, canned foods, top ramen, all of this stuff I have sitting on my floor right now because I don't know. I don't know. It's a possibility. So get ready, get your stuff together, get water, rice, beans, all this stuff because I don't know. I don't think any of us know, but we're watching it coming. So we only have, what's today's date? Today's the 17th. Shit, we got 2 days, you guys, before the 19th hits. If I were you, I'd go get your shit together because I don't know what's going to happen on the 19th. They're talking about Trump initiating Article 3. I have a video of that. I posted it in the room if anybody was paying attention. So I don't know what's happening, but we have to keep our eyes out, and it doesn't hurt to be ready is all I'm saying. It doesn't hurt, because I don't know.
No. So what do you suggest? Just go to, like, the woods?
No, they'll find you and kill you if that's the truth, because you're running.
Well, should I just go to work still, or?
You got to remember that God will protect his children, and they were commanded to not touch one hair on his elect's head. Those who have the truth sealed in their forehead, they can't harm one hair on your head. The only thing I would suggest you do is get food, water, supplies, silver if you can. Of course, it's only got 2 days. I mean, you better act fast for that. Just get your basic
Oh, so they're not going to be killing us?
They were well, I'm not going to say nobody can die because I don't know, but I know that God said you cannot touch one hair on mine elect's head. Those who have
the demon spirits.
They can't. When Lucifer comes here visually, he's not coming with a sword to chop your head off. He's coming peacefully.
It's all man to do it, though, right?
No, because it's going to be a religious system. It's going to be peace among the whole world. Arms are going to be laid down. There's not going to be armies. Everybody's going to be in a religious system of nothing but it's fake, but it's going to be peace around the world. When there's peace around the world, Lucifer's here visually because he's the only one that can bring that together.
So we could just peacefully wait for the real Messiah?
No. Because the reason why is because he already has the rest of the world. They've already fallen for him. And when it says, be he comes down to make war with the saints, and he comes in a fury because he knows he only has a short time. He's coming directly for the elect. He's coming directly for them because he thinks he can take the elect. And that's why God shortened the time from 7 years to 5 months, because if God didn't, even the elect would fall for him, because he is that truly, if you want to call it, amazing and all this that he says he is. And it looks like Christ. He looks like Christ, and he acts like Christ. He's not coming to chop your head off. He's coming to love you. He's coming to love you. If somebody was coming with a sword to chop your head off, saying, I'm Jesus, now give me your head, you'd say, my God doesn't do that. My Jesus doesn't do that. But when he comes and says, I love you, that can just help to prevent a civil uprising. That martial law can make it to where this country the president can do whatever the hell he wants by putting us into the North American Union. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do. That's what martial law is about. He could take over as a ruler, as a king of the earth. But when Lucifer gets here physically, visually, when you see him in Jerusalem, sitting where he ought not, saying, I'm here to save the world, well, things are going to have to get pretty hairy-carry for him to come save the world. When Jerusalem, Luke 21:20, when Jerusalem is surrounded by its armies, know that the time is nigh. The desolator, not desolation, it was mistranslated. It's desolator, is now. That's because he's gonna show up to save it. For a moment, it's going to be false. And he's not coming to cut your head off. He's coming to love you. He's coming to assume the kingdom. It doesn't just get handed to him. He gets it by flatteries, by love, by magic coming from his hands. He can make lightning fall from the sky. Boy, is he going to do miraculous things, and he's going to love you. He is going to love you.
I don't care what he does. I'll still wait for the real God.
Well, all we have to do, but you got to realize, by us saying, no, we know who you are, we don't get the chicken in our pot, we don't get the money, we don't get the food, we can't participate in any part. I can't hear you.
Did we deceive the deceiver, or do we have to tell?
They're going to find us out, not by us saying, no, you're Lucifer, we know who you are, because we're not going to participate in the system. We're not going to go for the lies, and they're going to know it because we're not doing the work of the system. And it's going to be really easy to find us out.
Kind of like how Daniel got caught.
Right. Right. But it's okay, because God's got us. So, but I don't know if anybody has anything else to say, because I'm actually getting ready to close this stream down. So I've got some news to check into. I've had a great night, and I want to thank everybody for coming in and joining us and learning and supporting each other and loving each other and sounding that alarm, keeping our eyes open. We'll be back probably tomorrow with another live stream. I haven't posted any videos lately because we've been coming in live to talk about it anyways. And anyways, thank you everybody for being here. John, do you have anything you wanted to say? Olive?
John left. He went to bed.
Oh, John went to bed. That's what he had to say. Good night. Olive, did you have anything you wanted to end it with?
No, I don't. You end it.
All right. Well, everybody, like I said, thanks for coming in here, supporting each other, learning together. I suggest for homework, and we can discuss this tomorrow, is print out that map of the Middle East and go ahead and look where the Arabi armies are. Look how close they are to Jerusalem. Track them. Look at where the armies are. Look what Iran is doing. Look where all the players. It helps you to see the chessboard when you're looking at that map of the Middle East, and you can put where the armies are. They are so close to Jerusalem, you guys. It is unbelievable. Watch your enemy. Study your enemy. Watch their moves. And all I can say is Lucifer is coming before Christ. Don't forget that. If somebody comes saying that they're Christ and you can pinch yourself and you can feel it, it's not Christ, it's Lucifer. Okay? Because when Jesus is here, we're put into our spiritual bodies. So if he comes saying, I'm Christ, pinch yourself. If you can feel that pinch, that ain't Christ. Other than that, keep your eyes on Jerusalem. Good night, and God bless, and watchmen watch.
Good night.
Good night.